Chapter 24-22, A Happy Family Together. Unfortunately, that adopted son. Chief Lu continued. Director Ian, forgive me for being blunt, but this servant couldn't have planned such an important matter or obtained such an important ledger. There must be someone else behind him. Ian Yuerong aloofly replied. I know. It could only be Ian Hung. At this moment, Ajong finally realized his predicament and loudly started crying for help. Madam, I was wrong. It wasn't me. I didn't want to do this. It was young Master Ian Hung. He's the one who ordered me to frame you. He's the one who thought of having me use little young master to put this item inside your study. He gave me this ledger. I'll tell you everything. Ajong knew he was completely finished, so he ratted Ian Hung out without a pause. Ian Yuerong coldly looked at the ceaselessly begging Ajong without a trace of warmth in her eyes. She didn't even want to raise a single inquiry about why he betrayed her. Chief Lu, take him away, Ian Yuerong told him directly. Chief Lu responded, All right, I'll take him away now. I will continue to investigate things, including the people connected to this ledger. Please pardon us for the offenses earlier. You're being polite. Excuse us. Anti-Chiao, escort Chief Lu out. Madam, save me. I beg you to spare me. Spare me just this time. It was really young Master Ian Hung who ordered me to do everything. Ajong's wails were cut off after the front door closed as he finally disappeared from Wanmei Villa. When Tang Tang saw Ian Yuerong pale as a piece of paper and somewhat absent-minded, he quickly helped her to sit down on a chair. Grandma, are you okay? Grandma's fine. Ian Yuerong was gentle. Don't be sad, Grandma. My mommy once taught me that people who can bear to hurt you aren't worth your sadness. Tang Tang comforted her. Ian Yuerong looked at the little fella and couldn't help but remember her agio. In truth, as a mother, merely going by how well that girl, worryless Nya, raised Tang Tang, worryless Nya was 100 times stronger than her. Thank you, Tang Tang, Ian Yuerong said. Tang Tang responded with a smile. Grandma, we're family. When Ian Yuerong heard that, an ache filled her heart. Tang Tang, if I was really the same as described by outsiders, what would you do? The same as described by outsiders? Ian Yuerong finally told him the truth. I don't have a good relationship with your dad and mom. Because of some matters, there's a very large gap and conflict between us. She didn't want to deceive Tang Tang anymore. Tang Tang seriously mulled over it before honestly saying, Grandma, I don't know why you have a conflict, but I think you must both have your own reasons. Tang Tang understands, but Tang Tang would probably still be sad. Tang Tang looked up and quietly asked, Grandma, can't we be a happy family together? Ian Yuerong turned silent. A happy family together? What a foreign and distant concept for her. She knew her own personality well. Some things were engraved deep in her bones, and she wouldn't be able to change or forgive her entire life. When it came to the matter regarding the revision of the laws alone, as long as she and Agio couldn't reach an agreement, they would stand in opposition their entire lives. Chapter 24-23. This maneuver is too flashy at the same time. Si Yihan and Yi Wanwan were urgently called over by Yi Lingjun all of a sudden. When they arrived, Yi Lingjun swiftly explained the incident at Ian Yuerong's villa to them. When I received the report, Chief Lu was already at Wanmei Villa. I was about to rush there when Chief Lu unexpectedly informed me I didn't need to since the matter had been resolved by my darling grandson, Tang Tang. At that time, after listening to Yi Lingjun's detailed explanation, both Si Yihan and Yi Wanwan were obviously surprised. Yi Lingjun proudly said, He's truly my grandson. He's too smart. You guys don't know, but Chief Lu praised him hundreds of times after coming back. He's so jealous of me. The corner of Yi Wanwan's lips twitched. Your grandson? Don't immerse yourself in the act so deeply, all right? What's so shocking about that? This is just par for the course for my baby Tang Tang. It's perfectly normal. Yi Wanwan gloatingly latched onto Si Yian's arm. After all, my baby inherited his dad's intelligence. A smile flitted across Si Yian's eyes. Yi Lingjun was at a loss for words. Praising her son was fine, but she didn't forget to praise her man along with it too. All right, come here. I'll let you listen to something fun. Ling Jun secretively took out a recording pen from his drawer. What is it? Yuan leaned over curiously. You'll know when you hear it. It's my precious grandson's recording from Wanmei Villa. Ling Jun grinned. Tongtong's recording? Yuan glanced at him before taking the recording pen and pressing the play button. Si Yihan and Yuan soon heard the recording. At first, the contents were fairly normal. Tang was angry about Zhong cajoling him. Then they heard Tang mention he had a request. Baby, what do you think our Tang will request? Yuan murmured, intrigued. Si Yihan glanced at her and truthfully answered, I can't guess, but it probably wasn't something that this servant could easily accomplish. Yuan's ears perked up to continue listening, and then the subsequent storyline completely collapsed. Say his grandma was a beautiful and kind-hearted celestial maiden 100 times? After Si Yihan and Yuan finished listening to Zhong repeat, Madam is a beautiful and kind-hearted celestial maiden, that many times their expressions were indescribable. Not simple. It really wasn't simple. Yuan was beside herself with laughter. Ha ha! My baby's maneuver was too flashy. Not bad, not bad. He really deserves to be my son. Biological, without a doubt. He's seriously inherited all of my teachings. No, he surpassed his teacher. Ling Jun nodded enthusiastically. I finally understand why director Ian likes that little fella this much. Just look at his EQ. After saying that, Ling Jun returned to business matters. Director C, please hand Ian Hung over to the Arbitration Council. He has deep ties with Qin Zhong, and we need to interrogate him. Si Yihan replied, Okay, I will have him sent over. As Si Yihan spoke, his phone started ringing. It was a call from Lin Quebec. Si Yihan took the call and turned to Wan. Lin K said that director Ian has sent Tang back. Yuan was both shocked and joyful. What? Let's hurry back then. Okay, Si Yihan agreed. Ling Jun thought for a moment before saying, I will come too. If there are any conflicts, I can help mediate. Chapter 24. Very sweet. Yuan speechlessly glanced at Ling Jun. Why is he joining the fun? When Ling Jun tried to follow, Yuan hastily stopped him. What are you doing? Ling Jun looked at Yuan. Yuan smiled faintly. Dad, you attend to hundreds of important matters every day, so you don't need to concern yourself with these family matters. What are you saying? I do attend to important matters every day, but when it comes to family matters, don't these matters concern me too? Ling Jun asked. Yuan, Dad, you're right, but you should understand Agio and Director Yin's relationship. It'll be difficult to talk with too many people there. Moreover, with Director Yin's personality, if you're there, she'll definitely talk business again, Yuan said with a hint of exasperation. The bill hearing is about to start, so you should prioritize matters relating to the bills first, President, Si Yihan said to Ling Jun. Ling Jun contemplated it before finally recognizing the fact that he was the president of the Arbitration Council. He then agreed to stay behind and not follow. Soon, Si Yihan and Yuan returned to Si Yihan's current residence. Ninth brother, you're finally back. Lin K was excited when he saw them, as though he found a straw to clutch at. God knew the repressiveness he felt while staying under the same roof as Yin Yuerong. He was so afraid that he'd evoke Yin Yuerong's anger with the smallest accident and subsequently make Yin Yuerong poison him to death. Every time he saw Yin Yuerong, at least he had ninth brother next to him to boost his courage. Where's Tang? Yuan asked Lin Quebec. In the living room with Annie Rong, Lin K replied. Si Yihan immediately headed toward the living room, his face devoid of any emotion. Yuan closely followed. She better not let Si Yihan and Yin Yuerong come into contact alone, or else with Si Yihan's EQ. The mere thought frightened her. Si Yihan had directly inherited Yin Yuerong's EQ. This duo's biggest similarity was how they managed to have a hand of beautiful cards, yet had a rotten game. They were truly mother and son through and through. If Si Yihan had even a third of Tongtong's EQ, his relationship with his mother absolutely wouldn't have deteriorated to this extent. Yuanwan soon followed Si Yihin to the living room. Yuanwan watched as Tang Tang held a piece of watermelon in his hand and lifted it to Yin Yuerong's mouth. Yin Yuerong furrowed her brows. She rarely ate sweet things. Grandma, this watermelon is very sweet. Tang Tang just tried some. Grandma, have a bite. Tang Tang looked up at Yin Yuerong, his eyes sparkling like stars. Yin Yuerong glanced at Tang Tang and couldn't stand to reject him, so she could only take a bite as Tang Tang wished. Is the watermelon sweet, Grandma? Tang Tang grinned. Very sweet, Yin Yuerong answered. Si Huaizhong never ate sweet things, so she also rarely ever touched sweets all these years and even forgot the taste long ago. However, because of this child, she broke her rules again and again. She also discovered she didn't dislike this. Grandma, you must eat more fruit from now on. Fruit have a lot of vitamins and are good for the body. Plus, fruit are very sweet. Tang Tang acted like an adult and spoke to Yin Yuerong solemnly. Yin Yuerong was silent for a moment before actually nodding lightly. Okay, this scene before her filled Yi Wanwan with thoughts. Look at this. This is the power of EQ. If Si Yihin also had EQ like Tong Tong's, he wouldn't have gotten to where he is. If I allow Si Yihin and Yin Yuerong, this mother and son duo who have extremely high IQ but EQ in the negatives, to interact with each other, won't that be the same as Mars colliding into the Earth? Chapter 24-25, Reluctance Mommy. Before Tang Tang could say anything else, he caught sight of Yuanwan and Si Yin standing at the door in his peripheral vision. He immediately dashed toward Yuanwan. Good Tang Tang. Yuanwan had nothing but adoration on her face. Eat some watermelon, Mommy. Tang Tang picked up a piece of watermelon for Yuanwan. Very sweet. Yuanwan praised the fruit happily after taking a few bites. Eat some watermelon, Grandma. Tang Tang handed the last piece of watermelon to Yin Yuerong. Si Yihin, since you're back, I won't prolong my stay, Yin Yuerong said aloofly as she stood up. Yuanwan blinked and couldn't help but be surprised. Yin Yuerong really came to drop Tang Tang off. Back then, even if you beat her to death, she probably wouldn't believe that Yin Yuerong, who personally detained Tang Tang, would personally send him back to them. Hold on, Director Yin. Si Yihin turned to Yin Yuerong. The bill hearing is approaching. May I ask you what your thoughts are, Director Yin? Yuanwan looked at Si Yihin, stunned. This man's EQ had clearly improved recently, so why did it plummet to an all-time low as soon as he saw Yin Yuerong? Even if he wanted to change Yin Yuerong's mind, he shouldn't be so direct. Plus, this tone and attitude, what was he thinking? Yin Yuerong glanced at Si Yihin, her attitude not any better than his. I didn't come here today to discuss work with you. Moreover, there aren't any openings with me, so the future will be decided by how the proposed bill plays out. Is that so? Si Yihin asked coldly. At this moment, Yin Yuerong and Si Yihin faced off with their swords drawn, sending the bystanders into what felt like an ice cavern. Daddy, Tang Tang suddenly grasped Yin Yuerong's hand, but looked at Si Yihin. Daddy, how can you speak to my grandma with this kind of attitude? Si Yihin, Yuanwan, Yin Yuerong. Grandma was framed by bad people earlier. Not only is Daddy not showing any concern for Grandma, but he is also treating Grandma like this. Daddy's wrong, Tang Tang said. Si Yihin, Grandma, you must have not taught Daddy well. You have to teach Daddy properly from now on, Tang Tang then said as he turned to Yin Yuerong. Yin Yuerong, Si Yihin. As Yuanwan watched the mother and son duo that was rendered speechless by Tang Tang, she silently turned away and suppressed her laughter. Yin Yuerong cleared her throat. Tang Tang, Grandma will leave now. Yin Yuerong knelt down as she spoke and looked at the little fella, a rare trace of reluctance flashing through her eyes. All right, Tang Tang nodded. Following that, Yin Yuerong felt an inexplicable, indescribable sense of disappointment. She thought Tang Tang would ask her to stay longer. After she left this time, they might not have a chance to meet again. She had to get everything she wanted in her life. However, this child was the only person whom she didn't want to hate her, even if the price was possibly never seeing him again. Mommy, Grandma, and I'll be leaving now. We'll come to see you again next time. Inuerong was about to leave when Tangdang turned around and said that to Yuanwan. An indescribable light flickered in Inuerong's eyes when she heard Tangtang. Aren't you going to go back with your dad and mom? Inuerong asked hesitantly. Tangtang blinked. Tangdang and Mommy agreed that Tangtang would stay with Grandma a few more days. Tangdang can always spend time with Daddy and Mommy, but if Tangdang returns to Yun City with Daddy and Mommy, while I can come and visit Grandma anytime I want, I won't be able to see Grandma every day. Chapter 24-26. Not a problem. We LL satisfy you, Yuanwan was amazed. Look at my son's EQ. She was originally worried about how she would clean things up if her parents found out the Yin family abducted Tangdang and created a storm. Now it appeared she had nothing to worry about. What mother-in-law and daughter-in-law conflict did she have to be afraid about? What mother and son friction did she have to be afraid of? Yuanwan covertly gave baby Tangdang a thumbs up. Awesome job, my baby Tangtang. When Tangtang saw his mommy praising him, happiness filled his starry eyes. After saying goodbye to his parents, Tangtang led Inuerong by the hand and started walking toward the front entrance. Grandma, let's go back. I'm hungry, all right. Inuerong blindly followed the little fella's lead. She would never admit she had ever extravagantly wished for family. However, with a tug, this child's tiny hand tugged her into a warmth she could behold but couldn't obtain. I want Grandma's sweet and sour spare ribs, Tangtang said. Okay. Inuerong nodded. Grandma, I also want to eat tonghalu and red braised pork, Tangtang added. Under the watch of Yuanwan and Si Yihan, the grandmother and grandson duo left the manor. The first time, it was Inuerong who forcefully detained Tangtang. This time, it was Tangtang who willingly followed Inuerong home. A moment later, Yuanwan turned to Si Yihan, who seemed to be deep in thought. What are you doing? Yuanwan asked. Thinking about something. Amen. You should indeed think about why your mom treats Tangdang like a treasure and treats you like some weed. Yuanwan sighed, her face exasperated. Si Yihan, Grandma, let's walk around. After leaving the manor, Tangtang looked up as he made this suggestion to Inuerong. The streets and alleys were bustling with people. Inuerong didn't know how long it had been since she felt this alive. It was as if this was what life should feel like, a life she'd long been missing. Grandma carried Tangtang. Tong's tired. Tangtang extended his arms toward Inuerong. Inuerong took a long look at the boy in front of her, and her lips turned up, revealing a never-seen-before warmth. She slowly bent down and tightly hugged Tangtang. Inhung was soon taken away by the Arbitration Council for an investigation. At court, Inhung refused to plead guilty and pushed all the blame onto the servant, Ajong. Ajong was also a brainless fool and didn't keep any evidence back then and couldn't prove that it was Inhung who gave him the ledger. Since Inhung vehemently denied all faults, the court entered a stalemate. If they couldn't find Inhung guilty by the predetermined time, then Inhung would have to be released. You won't admit it? Fine. It's no problem. We'll satisfy you. Since Inhung denied any guilt, Ilingjun directly returned him to Si Yihan. Inhung was dumbfounded. He was confident that the Arbitration Council would release him if they didn't obtain any evidence, and he could flee immediately. He never expected Ilingjun to actually send him back to Si Yihan. Inhung initially wanted to negotiate with Si Yihan to be released, but eventually realized a problem. It would be scarier if Si Yihan released him. He heard Inuerong had people standing guard nearby. As soon as he was released by Si Yihan, Inuerong's people would capture him. Inhung would currently rather be imprisoned at Si Yihan's place forever than ever leave. If he was locked in this wretched place, he would still be alive. But if he was released, Inuerong wouldn't spare him. Chapter 24-27. Everybody's happy. Moreover, from the guard's conversation, Inhung learned that Inuerong had ordered Annie Rong to ask Si Yihan for him. However, this time, they weren't retrieving him to save him. It was to take his life away. The fear that plagued Hung couldn't be described with words anymore. No matter what, he couldn't end up in Yuerong's hands. He absolutely couldn't. Inside the dungeon, Hung watched the man he hated striding inside. He concealed all the dissatisfaction on his face and put on a front. Elder brother. Right now, he didn't care about anything. Nothing was more important than his life. Si Yihan apathetically stared at Hung. Congratulations on regaining your freedom. What? Si Yihan is really releasing me? Hang's face dropped immediately. Regaining his freedom? No, he didn't want his freedom. He was willing to stay in this place forever, even if it meant being a prisoner. Hung believed that Si Yihan was well aware Yuerong absolutely wouldn't give him any chance of survival after he was released. Si Yihan wanted him to die. You can reunite with mother soon, Si Yihan added aloofly. No, elder brother, it's quite nice here. I don't need to go out yet. Hung vehemently shook his head. It's not up to you. After saying that, Si Yihan ordered his men to drag Hung out of the dungeon and evict him. Within 15 minutes of Hung being kicked out, Annie Rong appeared and ordered her people to take Hung away. A problem that originated from the family naturally had to be resolved by the family themselves. Everyone knew that there wouldn't be a wisp of news of Hung in the independent state from today onward. This person would disappear forever. He was merely an orphan who was brought home and personally nurtured by Yuerong. He managed to climb to this position today, but his ambition grew bigger and bigger. Not only did he attempt to shove away the rightful master, but he also conspired with outsiders behind Yuerong's back and even wanted to send Yuerong to her death. No one felt a trace of sympathy for Hang's fate. Inside Si Yihan's manor, Yuan released a sigh of relief and looked at Si Yihan. Your mom wanted you to release Hung, but you refused to do so. Who are you throwing a tantrum for? Isn't it great that you released him? This way, everybody's happy. Annie Chow visited them many times in the hopes that Si Yihan would free Hung, but was rejected every time. In the end, Yuan couldn't stand it anymore and forced Si Yihan to release the man. Of course, while they were releasing Hung, to put it plainly, they were merely delivering Hung into Yuerong's hands. A few days later, the summit reached its end, and the yearly bill revision hearing would finally begin. The majority of the people who would attend the bill revision hearing were directors and higher-ups from the Arbitration Council. However, they also allowed a limited number of audience members. Due to her connection with the Ling Jun, Yuan could also attend as an observer. The bill hearing was everything but harmonious. Due to all kinds of proposed law revisions, the Arbitration Council's higher-ups and directors were quarreling non-stop, their faces flushed with anger. The 12 independent states had an extremely large number of laws and regulations, and minor adjustments had to be made every year. Because some bill revisions could violate people's principles, arguments were unavoidable. After all, everyone possessed different opinions. Disputes could be heard all morning. It wasn't until Ling Jun spoke that the atmosphere loosened up a tiny degree. All right, recently, the matter regarding residents of the independent state marrying outsiders has evoked quite a few incidents. This is a rule that has been passed down since ancient times. I would like to listen to everyone's opinions on whether this rule is reasonable or not, and whether we need to make revisions or not. Around the evening, Ling Jun interjected. Chapter 24-28. Following Ling Jun's words, the room turned quiet. Everyone knew Ling Jun intended to revise this rule. If they opposed, wouldn't that be the same as singing a different tune from him? Moreover, even if they put aside the matter of offending the president and director C, this rule alone contained many unreasonable flaws. President E, as you said, this is a law passed down from ancient times. Ancient times are ancient times, and modern times are modern times. What era are we in now? I think that we should revise such an inhumane law. No, we should abolish it, a director responded with a light chuckle. Yes, Director Zhou is right. People in ancient times would say that a person's marriage is dictated by their parents. But what era are we in now? Who doesn't know that people are free to marry and love whoever they want? Isn't it strange to use such an antiquated rule to restrict young people's romantic lives? I think that this law should be abolished, or else we'll eventually have a big problem on our hands. Amongst the 12 directors present, including Si Yihin, 11 directors agreed to abolish this rule, leaving In Yuerong the only one who hadn't spoken yet. However, if they wanted to abolish a law, it had to be passed unanimously without a single objection. So what does Director In think? Lingjun asked as he turned to In Yuerong some time later. Everyone's gazes landed on In Yuerong, who didn't know the relationship between Si Yihin and his mother was akin to fire and water. Si Yihin fully supported the abolishment of this law, and the debate was initiated by Si Yihin. How could In Yuerong pass this rule? It was absolutely impossible. Yi Wanwan's heart also raised her throat. She hoped a miracle would happen. Apologies, but I don't agree, In Yuerong expressionlessly said, looking at Lingjun. Si Yihin deeply furrowed his eyes. Director Si, I hope you won't interrupt when I'm speaking, In Yuerong coldly rebuked. Then, In Yuerong turned back to Lingjun and continued. If it exists, then there's a reason for it. I won't doubt our ancestors' wisdom, so I don't agree. Disappointment filled Yi Wanwan. However, even if it didn't pass this year, there was still next year. If they put more work into it, perhaps they could change In Yuerong's mind. She merely hoped elder brother wouldn't be so impulsive again. His relationship with Ling Miao would definitely have a good ending. All right, let's vote to decide then, everyone, Lingjun finally said. Everyone was at a loss for words. In Yuerong's attitude was crystal clear, so continuing to vote was superfluous. However, they still had to follow the process. 11 directors voted in favor. Where's your vote, Director In? Lingjun inquired when he saw that In Yuerong didn't move. I won't vote this year, In Yuerong replied. Won't vote? What do you mean? Lingjun was bewildered. I'm abstaining, In Yuerong said expressionlessly. Everyone, including Si Yihin and Yi Wanwan, was startled. She was abstaining. Don't you object to this? Lingjun was astonished. Is there a definite connection between me objecting and abstaining? In Yuerong retorted. No, there aren't any connections. Lingjun smiled. All right, since Director In is abstaining, this means we've passed unanimously. After the hearing adjourns, please abolish this law prohibiting marriage with an outsider, Director Zhou. Understood, Director Zhou answered. Chapter 24-29, the session finally concluded. This was going to be the most meaningful session in the history of the independent states. Soon, the news would spread through all 12 independent states. After leaving the Arbitration Council building, In Yuerong lifted her head and gazed at the blue sky above her. In her life, she spent the first half pursuing Si Huaizhong and the latter half pursuing power. She had never obtained happiness in her life and never lived for herself. Now, she was tired. Although she did something that went against her principles and desires, she had never been this relaxed and tranquil. It turned out that compromising didn't mean failure sometimes. It led to a whole new world instead. As soon as the news was released, Yi Wanwan immediately texted nameless Nya and informed him of this good news. As she walked out, she mused to herself. This result is seriously too shocking. I guess that your mom definitely wouldn't agree, but I didn't expect her to actually abstain. I was prepared for a long battle. I also didn't expect this, Si Yihin said. Recently, In Yuerong had done too many things that differed from his understanding of her. The two of them had just stepped out of the building when they caught sight of In Yuerong waiting for her car in front of the entrance. Silence dawned on the three of them. None of them knew what to say. At this moment, a black car pulled up and In Yuerong's driver arrived, finally breaking this awkward silence. In Yuerong looked away and made her way to her car. Before entering her car, In Yuerong suddenly paused and turned around to look at them. Her gaze landed on Si Yihin as she said, Agio, in truth, Mommy looked forward to your birth the whole time. You were born carrying all of Mommy's hopes. Si Yihin's pupils contracted. Inuerong had never said any of this to him. It's just, I've been too cowardly all these years. I was trapped by my failed relationship and life and wanted to imprison you in this lightless prison with me. I wanted you to stay in the darkness with me. Inuerong peered up and stared at her son, a sad smile spreading on her face. Agio, in truth, Mommy was just too lonely. I'm sorry, Agio. As Siyin listened to Inuerong, his hands clenched into tight fists. Yuanwan reached out and gently grasped his lightly trembling hand. In reality, Siyin might not vocalize it, but his mother had always been the scar on his heart. Siyin never understood how a mother could treat her biological child that cruelly. At first, he still held hopes and wanted to know why, but he was disappointed again and again. Eventually, he finally stopped asking and stopped holding any hopes. However, in the depths of his heart, what he desired the most was this explanation from Inuerong. And the balm for the scar in his heart was simply the two words, I'm sorry. Inuerong glanced at the girl next to Siyin. Agio, you have better taste than Mommy. After saying that, Inuerong got in her car, and the car started driving, disappearing from sight. Yuanwan held Siyin's hand and softly said, I was wondering earlier why Tangdang was able to change Inuerong so much, but now I suddenly understand. It's probably because of love. Inuerong's icy demeanor was changed because of love and was melted and transformed again by love. Chapter 2430. After the session ended, Yuanwan and Siyin invited Yi Lingjun for dinner, a farewell meal of sorts. They originally planned to head back tomorrow, but they received news from Yun City. Because Yuanwan and Tangdang had been gone for too long, Nameless Nye couldn't hide it anymore, and Dad and Mom learned they went to Yun City. Hence, the family of three started their journey back to Yun City. After arriving in Yun City, Siyin led Wanwan and Tangdang to visit Grandpa first and inform him about everything that happened during this period of time. The outcome proved that Siyin's decision was correct. All right, I understand. I also understand your intention behind visiting me today. I'll help you make a trip to your parents. Thank you, Grandpa. You're the best. Yuanwan happily threw her arms around her grandpa's shoulders. All right, Grandpa, don't worry about Xia. Thankfully, we stopped him in time, so he didn't cause too great an impact. After some imprisonment, he'll be released and expelled from the independent state. It's already good that his life was preserved. Grandpa sighed. Moreover, Xia had lived in China longer than the independent state, so he was actually more suited for life in China. After chatting with Grandpa a little longer, Nameless Nye quickly came to pick them up. Sister, you're finally back. Nameless Nye exclaimed as he ran toward Tangdang and looked him up and down. Thank God, thank God. It's fine as long as this little ancestor is fine. After saying that, the more he looked, the more something fell off. He reached out and pinched the little fella's cheeks. Why does it seem like Tangdang is chubbier? Wasn't he kidnapped? I thought he'd go down a size. Why is his face rounder instead? Tangdang disdainfully slapped away Nameless Nye's hand and emphasized every word carefully. Watch your words. Nameless Nye was already very satisfied he got to pinch his nephew's cheeks, so he didn't dare to keep acting suicidally. He turned to Siyin. Thank you so much for this, brother-in-law. Ling Miao is still bedridden, so I'll help her thank you and Wanwan. It was my duty, Siyin replied. Nameless Nye clapped his chest and promised Siyin, don't worry, brother-in-law. I've taken charge of your marriage with my sister. I fully support you guys. I'll help you persuade Dad and Mom. I'll help you book your wedding and banquet, and I'll help you fight in the van when we're escorting the bride. No one will dare to stop you from entering. I'll help you stand guard on your wedding night. I'll break the legs of whoever dares to prank you newlyweds. You just need to happily marry my sister. Cheers surfaced in Siyin's eyes. Thank you. As Yuanwan listened from her spot in the car, her expression darkened. Hey, you're getting more and more ridiculous. And look at your elbow. Isn't it about to break from how far out you're twisting it? Just who is your family member here? Huh? Nameless Nye instantly said disapprovingly, Sister, what are you saying? What do you mean I'm twisting my elbow out one? Aren't we all family? Anyway, aren't I doing this to help you? Don't you want to successfully marry brother-in-law? I haven't even billed you for this 5-star one-stop service. Yuan, you win. Half an hour later, the car finally reached the Nye residence. Baby Tang Dang fell asleep in the car, so Yuan first carried him to his room upstairs and got him settled before going back downstairs. When she returned to the downstairs living room, Si Yihin, nameless Nye, Grandpa, and her parents were all present. Nye Huili and Madame Nye were both looking at Yuan and Si Yihin unhappily and only kept themselves from flying off the handle since their father was there too. A Chinese idiom for helping outsiders instead of family. Chapter 24:31 Madame Nye reproached her. Wan, just what were you doing? You ran off to such a dangerous place alone. What would you have done if something bad happened? Did you want to scare Dad and Mom to death? Yuan was most afraid of this type of situation. Mom, before Yuan could finish, nameless Nye immediately said, "Didn't I tell you, Mom?" Wan just went to Tianshui City to visit her master, Lingjun, also known as President Yi. What could possibly happen to her? Plus, Wan helped expose Qinzong's true nature and accomplished a great deal. Madame Nye instantly glared at him. You have the nerve to talk? I haven't started with you. Tang Dang was captured by that Yin family and nearly encountered a mishap, but you actually helped them cover up everything until now. Nameless Nye didn't wait for Yuan and Si Yihin to speak and directly helped them explain. Mom, first, Tang Dang was captured by Yin Hung, which technically doesn't have anything to do with the Yin family. And Yin Hung has now been expelled from the Yin family, so he definitely doesn't have anything to do with the Yin family. Second, your precious grandson is perfectly fine. Didn't you see how Tong's face is a size chubbier after coming back? It was all for being fed by his grandma. His grandma seriously likes him. Did you see the truck outside? It was Yin Yuerong who made us bring back that whole truck of snacks and toys. If it weren't for my sister stopping her, Yin Yuerong would have probably emptied all the snack stores and toy stores in Tianshui City. Madame Nye. Although she didn't really believe her son, she did see that Tang Dang was indeed a lot chubbier, and his little face was also round and flushed. Nye Huili cleared his throat and was about to say his piece as the head of the family. Mr. C, I have some words. However, he just started when Wan's grandpa took a sip of tea from his spot on the sofa and casually interjected. If there aren't any problems, then Worryless and Ajio's marriage has been decided. Nye Huili was stunned, his entire speech cut off. Madame Nye hastily said, Dad, isn't this marriage too reckless? We should give the matter further thought. The elderly man sent his daughter a displeased look. Tong's already so big, so how should we give it further thought? Do you want Tang to forever hold a title as an illegitimate child? When Madame Nye heard this, she became hesitant. Nye Huili deliberated his words for a moment before saying, You've also seen Yin Yuerong's attitude. Even if she didn't harm Tang this time, she probably still doesn't agree to this marriage. At that point, we can't be lacking even a marriage proposal. The elderly man aloofly said, I don't think that's necessary as long as the two children are willing. When you marry my daughter, forget about a marriage proposal, but there wasn't even a wedding. Nye Huili was instantly rendered speechless. Instant KO. Madame Nye immediately played the mediator. Dad, Huali just has Worryless well-being in mind. Marriage is a big deal, after all. All right, there's also Tang. How about we wait until Tang wakes up tomorrow to ask the child for his opinion? After all, Mr. C was gone for so many years and was missing from Tong's side. The child needs some time to accept him. Since her father cared about Tang so much, Madame Nye decided to start with Tang. She could tell that Tang somewhat rejected Si Yihin, this father who appeared out of nowhere. When Si Yihin heard this, ripples appeared in his face, which had been calm this whole time. Yuan astutely noticed Si Yihin's expression and inwardly sighed. She found so many opportunities for them to spend time together. Don't tell me he still hasn't won over our son? Chapter 24:32 When the elderly man heard his daughter's suggestion, he hummed in thought. At this time, Footsteps were heard from the stairs. Baby Tang Dang foggily ran down in his fuzzy cartoon pajamas. When Madame Nye saw that Tang Dang had woken up, she immediately stood up, distraught. "You're awake, Tang Tang. Did we wake you up?" The little fella rubbed his sleepy eyes and walked towards Si Yihin on the sofa in his rabbit slippers. He extended his short little arms towards Si Yihin and glutinously said, "Hug, Daddy." Si Yihin froze in a spot for a moment before regaining his senses and reaching out to embrace the soft child who smelled like milk. "Daddy," Tang Tang had a nightmare. The little fella sulkily complained as he buried his head into his dad's arms. Si Yihin carefully hugged the dumpling in his arms and gently patted his back. He comforted Tang Tang a bit sloppily. "It's nothing. Nightmares are all fake." Only then did the little fella feel relieved. He closed his eyes and fell asleep again. The living room was oddly quiet. Patriarch Nye and Madame Nye didn't speak a word as they watched this scene. "It appears Tang Dang is getting along nicely with Agio," the elderly man said. This time, Patriarch Nye and Madame Nye had no rebuttal. And so, the matter was settled just like that. Si Yihin carefully carried Tang Tang upstairs, and Yi Wanwan also followed. After entering Tong Tong's room, Si Yihin gently placed the little fella on the bed and covered him with a comforter. Si Yihin and Yi Wanwan were about to leave when baby Tang Dang suddenly opened his eyes and called out, "Mommy." Yi Wanwan turned back around in surprise and saw her son's eyes, which didn't contain a trace of sleepiness. "Baby, you aren't sleeping?" "Huh, Mommy." Yi Wanwan quickly hugged the little fella. "Mommy, did Tang Tang perform well?" "Of course. Baby was too awesome." Yi Wanwan smacked a kiss on the eager little fella's cheek and didn't know whether to cry or laugh. She thought Tang Dang was finally getting attached to Si Yihin, but who knew the little fella was just trying to help them tackle her parents. Yi Wanwan praised him. "You performed very well. You guys acted like a real father and son." Baby Tang Dang, "Mommy, we really are father and son, though." Si Yihin also added, "We really are father and son." Yi Wanwan, "All right, fine. It was a slip of the tongue on her part. It wasn't her fault these two acted so awkward around each other." At night, due to the little fella's request, Yi Wanwan and Si Yihin stayed and slept with him. With baby Tang Dang and Si Yihin by her side, Yi Wanwan quickly entered dreamland. Si Yihin gently looked at his son next to him. "Are you asleep?" Tang Dang immediately opened his eyes. Of course, he hadn't slept yet. Mommy was finally sleeping with him, so he couldn't bear to fall asleep so fast. "You need something?" Tang Tang inquired with his eyes. "Can I ask you the reason why?" Si Yihin asked. Although Si Yihin didn't say it explicitly, baby Tang Dang seemed to immediately understand what the man was asking him. Si Yihin was asking Tang Dang why he didn't like him. Baby Tang Dang peered at his mommy next to him, his pink cheeks puffing up and his lips pursing, as though he thought of something very unhappy. Si Yihin didn't pressure him and merely waited silently. An unknown amount of time passed before little fella finally unwillingly answered, "Because Mommy likes you more. Mommy likes him more, which is greater than her like of me." Shock flitted through Si Yihin's eyes. He seriously didn't know whether to cry or laugh. He never expected this to be the reason why the little fella scorned him. He truly didn't know whether to be happy or exasperated. In terms of possessive behavior, his son deeply inherited this without a doubt. Chapter 2433. The next morning, Si Yihin went back first. Then Yi Wanwan had a sincere conversation with her parents, and Madame Nye and Patriarch Nye's oppositional attitude finally lessened. Of course, with Grandpa supporting them, her parents' opposition wasn't all that important anyway. After eating lunch, Yi Wanwan intended to go find Si Yihin to discuss some matters. "Mommy, are you going out?" Baby Tang Dang stood up immediately when he saw Mommy appearing to leave. Yi Wanwan patted the little fella on the head. "Yeah, where are you going?" Tang Tang asked. "Your dad's." When Tang Tang heard this, nervousness appeared in his large eyes. "When are you coming back?" I need to discuss something with your dad, so it might take a while." "Oh." The little fella was clearly unhappy. "Be good, baby. Mommy will try to come back to keep you company as fast as I can." Or how about you come with mommy? Yuan furtively suggested. No. The little fella was resolute. Yuan didn't know whether to cry or laugh. Did you get into a fight with Daddy? Tong Tong's little face froze. No. Since she couldn't get any answers from her son, Yuan could only go and visit Si Yihan first. In Azura's garden, when Yuan arrived, Si Yihan was looking at a thick album. Yuan casually peeked at it and discovered it was an album of wedding dresses. Si Yihan saw Yuan coming over, and an awkwardness flitted across his face lightning fast. He calmly closed the album and asked, "Everything good still? What problem could we have with Grandpa there? Plus, since my brother and baby Tangdang helped out and I pleaded some more with my parents, everything's been taken care of." Yuan replied, "All right, Ajia, what's going on with you and Tangdang? Did you say something to him last night? Why do I feel like Tangdang likes you less?" Si Yihan's expression didn't reveal anything. "It's nothing." Yuan narrowed her eyes. "How could there be nothing? Something must have happened. I told Tangdang I was coming to your place this morning, and the little fella was absolutely resentful. I asked him if he wanted to come with me, and he refused." Si Yihan glanced at her before saying, "Last night, I asked Tangdang why he didn't like me." Yuan's eyes lit up. She really wanted to know the answer to this question. "So how did Tang reply?" "Tang said it was because you like me more." Yuan, sweat drop. She thought Tang must have had some special reason. She never expected this. Yep, they were truly father and son without a doubt. Yuan hastily asked, "How did you respond?" For some reason, an ominous feeling rose inside of her. Si Yihan said, "I told him you're my wife, so of course you'd like me more." Aha! Yuan had no idea what to say. He deserved it. It wasn't wrong at all for him to be disliked by Tang. Yuan face-bombed. "Couldn't you have sweet-talked him?" Si Yihan glanced at her. "I was telling the truth." After saying that, he even intently stared at her with a, "Or do you think I wasn't telling the truth?" expression. How could Yuan dare to say it wasn't the truth? This guy seriously rendered her speechless. Yuan could only sigh. She hastily replied, yes, you're right. It's the truth, it's the truth. I like you the most." Chapter 2434. From the corner of her eye, Yuan caught a glimpse of the album sitting on the table in front of Si Yihan, and her eyes turned. She didn't expect Si Yihan to secretly look at wedding dresses by himself. Of course she'd choose to leave it alone, that was impossible. Yuan leaned over with a grin and pretended to nonchalantly open the album. "Baby, are you looking at wedding dresses? Which one do you like?" As Yuan spoke, her eyes focused on a fairly extravagant antique-style dress. "Oh, I think this one is quite nice. What do you think?" Si Yihan glanced at it. "I've reserved this style already. You also prefer this one?" Yuan blinked in surprise. Then she kept flipping through the album before stopping and pointing at a white mermaid dress. "This one is also nice. I also reserved this one." Yuan looked up in shock. "You predicted what I'd like again? You're really my baby. You know me the best. But this silver voluminous skirt one is also pretty. It's so hard to choose." The wedding dresses in this album were classic creations from famous designers all around the world, so every single one of them was pretty. Yuan only flipped for a little bit before she turned dizzy from the choices. Si Yihan calmly said, "I reserved it." She picked 3 dresses in a row, and Si Yihan had clairvoyantly reserved all of them. Yuan looked up again in surprise. "Baby, are our hearts really that linked?" "I reserved every dress in this album," Si Yihan replied. Yuan was stunned, and her lips started twitching unceasingly. So this guy was saying he bought every single dress in this top-notch wedding dress catalog? Was it true that the best solution for indecisiveness was to buy everything? Yuan was at a loss for words. "Why did you buy so many? Is it because your vinegar factory is going out of business, so you're switching paths and opening a wedding dress boutique?" Si Yihan's bewitching eyes glowed stunningly as he suddenly leaned forward and kissed her on the lips. In between breaths, he said, "I want you to wear every single one for me." Yuan's heart pounded so fast that it felt like she'd just fought a life or death battle with piece of shit. She really didn't expect this answer. Life was seriously full of ups and downs. Who would have known she'd be seduced by Si Yihin to this point? Yi Wanwan clutched her boiling cheeks. Ahem, didn't you buy too many? How long will it take for me to wear all of them? Si Yihin gently played with the strands of dark hair drifting by her ears. Is that a lot? After all, I'm only marrying once in my whole life, so you can take your time wearing them. Yi Wanwan, you win. All right, I nearly forgot to talk business with you. I came here because I wanted to discuss something with you. For our wedding, I might not hold it using my identity as worryless Nya. We might also not hold it in the independent state, Yi Wanwan said after deliberating her words for a moment. Si Yihin didn't seem to have any objection to this and directly agreed. Sure, you can hold it wherever you want with whichever identity you choose. Of course, it's also fine if you want to hold a wedding with every single identity. I can take back what I just said about only marrying once. Yi Wanwan, but I don't want to marry that many times. Thank you very much. If she added up her aliases with his aliases, how long would all the weddings take if they married using every single one of their aliases? Chapter 2435. If they held a wedding using every single one of their aliases, she'd probably have to spend the rest of her life in an endless stream of weddings. When Yi Wanwan saw that Si Yihin was seriously considering this, terror filled her, and she quickly reined the topic back on course. Ahem, hold it. Were you thinking? Who'd hold that many weddings? I just want to hold our wedding using Yi Wanwan's identity in China, all right? Yi Wanwan hastily said. Si Yihin looked at her. We naturally have to hold a wedding in China, but the independent state. Yi Wanwan didn't dare to let him finish speaking and interrupted him at once. It's very simple. We'll invite all of our friends and family from the independent state to China. I've already told my parents and my grandpa, and they all respect our decision. After the law was revised, there were much fewer restrictions between China and the independent state, and visits in between them were very easy. Si Yihin furrowed his brows. Are you sure you don't want to hold several more weddings in the independent state? Hold several more? Yi Wanwan glowered. Calm down a little, baby. Si Yihin aloofly glanced at her. I'm very calm. Yi Wanwan, calm your ass. Do you very calmly want to hold 100 weddings? A few days later, Yi Wanwan and Si Yihin boarded a plane to China. Yi Wanwan's original intention for coming to the independent state was to figure out her identity and background. Now that everything was revealed and she found out who she was, she naturally had to go back and give Dad, Mom, and Yi Mufan an explanation. In the years that her memory was replaced, she lived in China as Yi Wanwan. During these years, she completely treated herself as Yi Wanwan. Although this identity was fake, the interactions and bond from this time were real. There were many people in China waiting for her, waiting for Yi Wanwan. She definitely had to go back and explain everything that needed to be explained. Otherwise, it'd be unfair to her people in China. Perhaps it was because proximity increased trepidation that despite having made mental preparations beforehand and deliberating every single word in her explanation, Yi Wanwan still unavoidably felt nervous when the plane landed. During these years, Dad Yi and Mom Yi spoiled her with love, and she also considered them as her family, even her Khan brother, Yi Mufan. In truth, she didn't know how to reveal such a cruel truth to them. She didn't know how to tell them the daughter by their side wasn't actually their daughter. Their biological daughter had died in that explosion many years ago, and even her remains were lost. If they were unable to accept this, then her only choice was to strip herself from this identity that didn't belong to her forever. Probably detecting the girl's mood, Si Yihin gently patted her on the head. Wanwan. While Yi Wanwan was lost in thought, Yi Mufan's exhilarated voice bursted from the arrival reception area. Next to Yi Mufan, Yi Xiaoding and Liang Wanjun had also come and were eagerly sifting through the throngs of arriving passengers. As soon as they saw her, their eyes lit up. Dad, Mom, Brother, Yi Wanwan sprinted toward the three of them, while Si Yihin stayed behind her, pulling her luggage. Wanwan. Liang Wanjun's eyes reddened when she saw her daughter, and she tightly hugged Yi Wanwan. I'm glad you're back. I'm glad you're back. Chapter 2436. Liang Wanjun closely examined this both strange and incredibly familiar girl who she hadn't seen for many days. Her fragile shoulders were slightly trembling as she said, Wan, Mom thought you'd never come back. Yi shouting was also beside himself with excitement and turned around to wipe his tears when he heard his wife. Yi Wan's eyes turned teary. She faintly felt something was off about Liang Wanjun's words, but due to the storm of thoughts inside her mind, she didn't think too much about it. She quickly replied, Mom, what nonsense are you spouting? Why would I never come back? I'm your precious daughter. I still need to stay with you for the rest of my life. When Liang Wanjun heard that, she couldn't hold back her tears any longer, and they gushed out. Wan, Yi shouting clapped Liang Wanjun's shoulders. All right, don't cry. Isn't our child back? Look at you, don't scare our child. Yi Mufan also quickly started to comfort her. That's right, isn't Wan back now? Let's go home first to talk. Mom, let's go home. Yes, go home. At Golden Seas, soon, the family drove back to the mansion. Wan, where were you planning to live since you're back? Liang Wanjun asked with a tinge of nervousness. Yi Wan looped her arms around Liang Wanjun's arm. I'll live at home. I want to spend more time with you. Good. A bright smile filled Liang Wanjun's face. Mufan, hurry and put your sister's luggage in her room. I know. Yi Mufan resentfully grumbled. Mom, I'm not talking bad, but the number of times you've smiled since you've seen my sister is more than the number of times you've smiled at me in an entire month. Liang Wanjun shot him a reproachful look. Your sister is so well-behaved and clever and sensible and has such an outstanding boyfriend. But what about you? You haven't brought even a shadow home. Yi Mufan was speechless. Mom, why are you launching a personal attack on me? Why about all the girls I've brought home before? Where do you get the face to mention the past? What kind of people did you bring home every day? If it weren't for your sister looking after you, you probably wouldn't even have your pants left from being conned by those atrocious women. Yi Mufan's expression was as dark as the bottom of a pan. Mom, these are blatant double standards. My sister was clearly more horrible than me before. Her taste in men was 100 times vile than my taste in women, all right. Liang Wanjun pinched Yi Mufan by his ears without demur. How can you say that about your sister? Yi shouting also glared at his son. Damn punk, is your skin itchy for a beating? As Yi Wan watched the conversation between this family of three, a sense of déjà vu hit her. The similarities between this and the conversations between her real parents and nameless Nia were stunning. However, as Yi Wan watched them joking around harmoniously as a warm family, she recalled the words she needed to say later and found it harder to say them. After setting down the luggage, the family sat down on the couches in the living room. Do Yanran, Gong Su, and the others know about you coming back? Yi Mufan asked. I haven't told them yet. I'm planning to secretly surprise them later. Yi Wan replied. All right, the script you picked for Gong Su was quite nice. He can probably contend for an award overseas this time. Yi Mufan said. Oh, Yanran is also quite outstanding. Her journey has been very smooth, and she isn't troublesome at all. I wasn't worried about Yanran, of course. Chapter 2437. After a round of chatting, Yi Mufan sensed Yi Wan's absent-mindedness and asked, What are you thinking about? Why are you so distracted? Liang Wanjun quickly inquired. Wan, are you too tired? How about you go to your room and rest? Yi Wan shook her head. No. In the end, Yi Wan took a deep breath before pulling out a document file from her bag and looking at Liang Wanjun, Yi shouting, and Yi Mufan. Dad, Mom, brother, I actually came back this time because I have a very important matter to confess to you. Liang Wanjun's fingers clenched, and she glanced at Yi shouting. Very important matter? Yi shouting gently patted Liang Wanjun's hand before looking at Yi Wan and asking, What is it, Wan? Yi Mufan frowned deeply. Just what is it? Why are you so solemn? Don't tell me. Yi Mufan's gaze shifted between Yi Wan and Si Yihin before landing on the document file in her hand. Don't tell me you have an accident from your wildness? Yi Wan, You aren't premaritally pregnant, right? Is that a physical exam from the hospital? Are you distracted because you're afraid Dad and Mom will beat you? Yi Mufan's fairly tightly packed hypothesis dissipated all of Yi Wanwan's suppressed grim emotions. She was rendered speechless. Even Cian's expression was difficult to describe. As soon as Yi Mufan spoke, Liang Wanjun harshly slapped him on the head. Damn punk, what nonsense are you spouting? Do you think Wanwan is as inappropriate as you? Yi Shouting also agreed. Even if Wanwan really was pregnant, that'd be a wonderful thing. Yi Mufan's expression was dark as he grumbled in displeasure at once. Dad, you were just telling me last month that you'd break my legs if I dared to get a girl pregnant before marriage. Yi Shouting said, I did say that. Is there a problem with that? Yi Mufan choked, disbelief filling him. He grievously whispered, I see it now. Between Wanwan and I'm actually the one who isn't the biological child. Yi Mufan's words sent the living room into silence. Yi Wanwan was dazed for a few seconds before slowly realizing something. What did Yi Mufan's word mean? From Liang Wanjuan's, I thought you'd never come back, when she arrived at the airport earlier, to the understanding that seeped into Liang Wanjun and Yi Shouting's eyes when they heard she had something important to confess to them. And then Yi Mufan's careless words just now. Yi Wanwan furtively asked, Dad, Mom, you know? Liang Wanjun and Yi Shouting didn't speak at first, as if they didn't know how to respond. In the end, it was Yi Mufan who scratched his head and replied, Ahem, are you talking about how you are my younger sister? If that's the matter, then we do already know. Yi Wanwan was dumbfounded for a moment before it was replaced by astonishment. She didn't expect them to have already known about this matter that she found so hard to explain. How did you know? Yi Mufan was quiet for a moment before sighing. My sister was overseas for a pretty long time and didn't spend a lot of time with us, so I really didn't notice at first. If you had kept acting so foolishly and had an absolutely awful taste in men and terrible flirting skills, I never would have suspected anything for my whole life. However, I'm at least certain of one thing. No matter what happens, genetics can't change abruptly. Even if a person suffered trauma and experienced some changes in their personality, their abilities couldn't undergo such a great transformation in such a short period of time. Whether it's your martial arts skills or some of your professional abilities, my sister couldn't accomplish those. All right, there's also your taste. That man next to you? He's completely different from the type my sister liked. Since she was young, my sister has only liked the fake gentleman type like Guyueza. Chapter 2438. Yi Wanwan turned blank for a while after hearing Yi Mufan. She never expected the always unreliable Yi Mufan to also have such a meticulous side. When did you start suspecting it? Yi Mufan thought about it. I don't remember clearly. There were many things, but it was probably when you suddenly changed your attitude toward Shinmenchi. At first, it was just those little changes, so I didn't think too much about it. The time that made me distinctly suspicious was probably when Yi Wanwan looked up. Yi Mufan coughed and gulped, as if there were still lingering fears inside him. The time you punched a giant hole in the hood of Gong Su's sports car. Yi Wanwan's expression froze, and she wordlessly clutched her forehead. All right, so it was the time she got drunk and went crazy. Later, I thought about everything from the beginning and realized you seriously changed too dramatically. You were clearly a fragile and delicate girl, but you would always stand in front of us and could resolve everything no matter what. You had a bad memory since you were a child, but now you suddenly have a photographic memory. Although it was plausible you learned some martial arts, you absolutely couldn't be that fearsome. Yi Mufan said as he sifted through his memories. So you went and did a DNA test because you suspected my identity? Yi Wanwan asked furtively. Yi Mufan shook his head. No matter how I suspected you, I never did a test. I just secretly mentioned it to Dad and Mom a few times in a roundabout way. Yi Mufan smiled helplessly. In truth, I could tell that Dad and Mom also had some doubts, but like me, they also partially thought it was impossible. The other part was that they both subconsciously avoided this topic. Yi Wanwan was confused. Then how did you confirm it? Although Yi Wanwan didn't finish her sentence, Yi Mufan knew what she wanted to say and glanced at the man next to her. A few months ago, your man suddenly visited in the middle of the night and told us the truth. Yi Wanwan turned to look at Si Yihin in shock. Ajio told you. Why didn't I know anything? Yi Wanwan never expected Si Yihin to have told them the truth that long ago. Yi Mufan nodded. Back then, we did faintly sense something was off about you, but hearing the truth from his mouth was still too hard to accept. Then he just stood outside the door and waited, and also apologized to Dad, Mom, and me. Shock covered Yi Wanwan's face. She had no idea this happened. Yi Wanwan looked at the man next to her again. Why did you come back by yourself to do this? Si Yihin calmly replied. Considering your personality, after learning about your true identity, you definitely couldn't bear to conceal it from them and would tell them the truth. It was my fault to begin with, so you shouldn't have to bear this weight. Yi Wanwan hadn't anticipated Si Yihin would even consider that. He knew she valued her relationships and didn't want her to face it alone, so he helped her handle everything long ago. Bitter and complicated emotions swelled in Yi Wanwan's chest. She didn't know what to say. What do you mean it's your fault? You only did it because of me. It was me who was too weak and didn't have the courage to face everything. So I selfishly asked you to help me forget those memories. Even if an explanation was needed, it should have been me who explained. Chapter 2439, it was because of her weakness and avoidance. Yet, he unconditionally followed and indulged her wishes and supported her by himself. He even took the Yi family into consideration for her. Liang Wanjun and Yi Shouting's emotions were more stable now. Yi Shouting said, at first, Wanjun and I both couldn't accept this reality, so we didn't accept his apology and he stayed standing outside the door. Yi Shouting sighed. Later on, we calmed down, thinking back on it. In a twist of fate, this matter also saved our family. Yi Shouting's mind drifted as he replied. Back then, when my daughter was studying overseas, she encountered a riot, and everyone lost their lives in a blazing inferno in that riot without a single survivor. Because the explosion was too strong, no one's remains were preserved. Yi Shouting took a deep breath and continued. Back then, Wanjun was too heavily affected and her mental state deteriorated. She didn't drink or eat the whole day, and her health worsened more and more. She even tried to commit suicide several times. It wasn't until one day, 3 years ago, that we found our daughter. She was blessed and was saved by a kind passerby. She merely suffered some injuries and lost some of her memories. Because our daughter was found, Wanjun finally lifted her head, and we never doubted you weren't our daughter. Yi Wanwan replied with difficulty, I'm very sorry. Back then, my memories were replaced already. I didn't intentionally deceive you, but it was me who caused this to happen, so there's no defending myself. Yi Shouting sighed. Mr. C already explained the general circumstances to us. Although Si Yihin withheld the more confidential bits, he sincerely explained the general events to Yi Shouting and Liang Wanjun. Yi Wanwan closed her eyes. Apologies. I've caused a lot of trouble for you. Yi Shouting looked at the girl in front of him and said while pained, although I don't know how memory replacement works, you were truly identical to our old Wanwan. If it was her Wanwan, the things she would have done actually wouldn't be all too different for what you did. Back then, the second branch already wanted to target us, so the outcome would be the same even if it was a different Wanwan. And with such a useless father like me, Wanwan's fate wouldn't be any better right now, even if she survived. It was us parents who weren't able to protect our daughter well, Dad. Yi Wanwan hoarsely protested. Don't say that. You're a wonderful father. Yi Shouting took a deep breath. You, a single girl, stood your own ground and protected the entire Yi family by yourself. I truly can't blame you for anything. Moreover, these past few years, your mom and I have truly been very grateful that you came to our side. Tears flowed down Liang Wanjuan's face as she said, no matter what, we can't change the truth that my daughter has passed away. The heavens have already bestowed us with a blessing by letting you come to our side. This was why I didn't dare to expose anything despite all the oddities I discovered. It wasn't until Mr. C told us the truth and completely shattered my hopes. I really couldn't accept it at first, but Liang Wanjun stared at Yi Wanwan. But Mom's more afraid that you'll leave. I'm afraid you'll also leave me forever. Chapter 2440. After learning the truth, Liang Wanjun struggled in agony. She couldn't accept the truth that her daughter was dead through and through. More than that, though, she couldn't accept the girl who'd kept her company all these years and whom she completely treated as her own daughter could leave her and disappear from her life. Yi Wanwan hastily grasped Liang Wanjun's hand. Mom, I won't. I was only afraid you couldn't forgive my deceit. If you're willing, I'll be your daughter my whole life. Wanwan. Tears poured down Liang Wanjun's face like rainfall, and she sobbed as mother and daughter tightly hugged each other. Yi Mufan gently patted Liang Wanjun's shoulders in comfort. Later on, during that period in between, we knew the truth, but we feigned ignorance and kept in contact with you like normal. On one hand, we didn't know how to face you, but on the other hand, we were also afraid. We were afraid that you'd leave if we addressed the elephant in the room. And if you left, we wouldn't have any reasons to keep you. After all, you aren't actually related to us. Yi Wanwan instantly glared at Yi Mufan. At least I've been your sister for so long. Am I that ungrateful? I've already planned to hold my wedding in China as Yi Wanwan. Of course, that's if you'll allow it. After all, this identity doesn't belong to me. Yi Mufan's eyes shot open. You're getting married? When? Yi Wanwan retorted. Isn't that why I came back to discuss the exact date with Dad and Mom? Liang Wanjun and Yi shouting met each other's eyes, seeing each other's euphoria. You're holding your wedding in China? But for such an important event, you should allow your real parents to decide. Yi Wanwan quickly responded, I've discussed it with my parents and Grandpa already. They all agree to me holding it here. At that time, they can come to China, and we can invite our friends over here too. Liang Wanjun and Yi shouting didn't expect Yi Wanwan would choose to get married with the Yi family. They were touched. If you're willing, of course you can. They couldn't personally witness their daughter get married anymore, so this would fulfill one of their dreams. That evening, Yi Wanwan escorted Si Yihin to the front door. I'll stay with my dad and mom for now, and I'll go see Grandma tomorrow, Yi Wanwan said. Okay. Yi Wanwan sighed. In truth, I can handle it myself. I'm not a child. I was a golden manager at least. All right? I'm best at handling all kinds of tricky problems. Si Yihin was so taciturn and inarticulate. She found it hard to imagine how he explained everything to the Yi family. The man intently stared at the girl's face with his ocean-like eyes. His large hand patted the top of her head extremely gently, and his voice sounded like he was praising a child. You're very awesome. I know that. For some reason, Yi Wanwan's heart started speeding up again merely from his simple praise. Sunlight scattered across the man's icy eyes, melting them into a warm stream. He softly added, However, if I allowed you to handle everything yourself, then what would be the point of my existence? He clearly did so much, but he never said anything. With one simple word from her, a willful request, he silently kept guard over her and never tried to explain himself even when he was misunderstood. Yi Wanwan smiled tenderly at this cold man, who was also a gentleman. The best trait of my life was probably exchanging a Xiaobing for you. Chapter 2441. After leaving Golden Seas, Si Yihin returned to the ancestral sea residence, first to visit his grandma, before driving to Jean Garden and staying the night there. Meanwhile, Yi Wanwan was lying in her bed, a bit fatigued from spending the day on the plane. She was about to put down her phone and go to sleep when she saw the date on her phone. She abruptly rolled around and crawled back out of bed. Today was December 21st, so tomorrow was December 22nd, which was the winter solstice and also Si Yihin's birthday. In all the time she'd known Si Yihin, he never mentioned his own birthday and wasn't accustomed to celebrating his birthday. Yi Wanwan knew he didn't like to talk about his birthday, so she avoided mentioning him in the past. Later, when Tang Tang was staying with Inu Erong, He seemed to have talked about many things with unwavering, and Ajo was brought up somewhere in the conversation. After they returned to Yun City, she conversed with Tang Tang, who mentioned Ajo was born on a very cold winter night. She kept that in mind and had Tang Tang call unwavering to ask when Si Yin's birthday was. Baby Tang Tang successfully completed his mission and figured out his dad's birthday, which was December 22nd. Today, she came back to China and saw her parents and was so preoccupied with revealing the truth to them, so she nearly forgot about it. Yuan glanced at the time on her phone. It was 10 p.m. Midnight was 2 hours away. Thank goodness. There's still time. Yuan got out of bed and sprinted to Yi Shouting and Liang Wanjuan's room, asking them for her household registration booklet before going to Yi Mufan's room and knocking. Brother, open the door, open the door. Yi Mufan opened the door, slippers on his feet, and his posture slouched. What is it? I was about to sleep. Lend your car to me. I'm in a hurry. Yuan asked in a rush. Yi Mufan frowned. It's late. Why aren't you sleeping? Yuan quickly responded. Tomorrow's my baby's birthday. It'll be 12 in 2 hours. I need to hurry over and give him a surprise, then wait in front of the civil administration office overnight so that we can become the first couple to be officially wed tomorrow morning. Isn't that so romantic? Stuffed with a bucket of dog food unexpectedly, Yi Mufan nearly suffocated. It took him a moment to regain his senses. You're a girl. Can't you act more reserved? Yuan was incredulous. Are you kidding, brother? My baby is so outstanding. If I was reserved, I'd have no place left. Hurry, hurry, give me your key. Yi Shouting and Liang Wanjun appeared to have heard the commotion and also came out of their room. Yi Mufan immediately seized the opportunity to tattle on her. Dad, Mom, hurry and look at your daughter. She's stealing her household registration booklet in the middle of the night and wants to go get married to her man. Aren't you going to tell her off? Yi Shouting glared at his son. There's no stealing. I gave her the booklet. Yi Mufan. Liang Wanjun also softly said, it's good for young people to have passion. Mufan, it's too late now, so it's not safe for Wanwan to be out by herself. Drive her there. Yi Mufan. Thank you, Dad. Thank you, Mom. Yuan then urged him gloatingly. Let's go, or else we won't make it in time. I need to say happy birthday to my baby the second 12 o'clock hits. All right, if you could help me find a box of fireworks, that'd be even better. Yi Mufan simply wanted to kill her with a slap. Fireworks my ass. Imperial City prohibits fireworks and firecrackers, all right? Chapter 2442. In the end, under pressure from his parents, Yi Mufan accepted his fate, got changed, and drove Yuan. Forget it. It wasn't safe for her to travel there by herself. It wasn't safe for the pedestrians on the streets. Yi Mufan first drove Yuan to the ancestral sea residence so that Yuan could get Si Yin's household registration booklet from Grandma Si, who'd like a granddaughter-in-law as brassy as you. They'd probably be scared off by you. Just watch. His grandma will definitely kick you out. Yi Mufan grumbled derisively. However, 10 minutes later, Yuan came out again with a strikingly scarlet household registration booklet in her hand and a benevolent-looking elderly woman by her side. The elderly woman merrily grasped the girl's hand as she said, Hurry on then, but take your time on the road. Do you need Grandma to get a driver for you? No need, Grandma. My brother came with me, so he can drive me there. Great. Yi Mufan stared at this incredibly harmonious scene in front of him. Why was the script turned upside down? Was he lagging behind the times? Yuan looked at the time on her phone and estimated the time she had remaining. Hurry. Help me go buy fireworks. We can light them in the suburbs. Yuan urged. She still hadn't forgotten about this. Yi Mufan gritted his teeth. Is being allowed to light fireworks the main point? Where am I supposed to buy fireworks for you in the middle of the night? Don't you think you're being too awful to me, a single dog? What kind of sin did he commit to be forced to follow her this whole time and be stuffed with dog food the entire trip? It's all because you're my brother. Yuan blithely grinned. Brother? I know you treat me the best, better than my real brother. No, wait, you're my real brother. Yi Mufan glanced at her from the corner of his eyes, concealing the ecstasy in his eyes. Really? Of course. I remember there's a store nearby where we can buy them. Let's go there and try our luck. Thankfully, their luck was good, and Yi Mufan really managed to buy a box of fireworks. After stuffing the car, trunk full of fireworks, they made their way to Jean Garden. Brother, please. You just need to go to the lake in the back. That place is the most ideal. You can start lighting them when it's time. Yi Wanwan instructed him. Okay, leave it to me. After saying that, Yi Wanwan avoided the main entrance and scaled the wall in the back courtyard in order to surprise Si Yihan. She completely renovated Jean Garden once and planted it full of fruit trees and vegetables. Although it was winter right now, Yi Wanwan still saw many fruits that were in season and even saw a giant vegetable garden greenhouse in the distance. It was very down to earth. It appeared Steward Su meticulously took care of the garden while she was gone, and the enormous garden was bustling with life and growth. Who's there? Yi Wanwan was wandering around when she heard a harsh shout, promptly followed by the sound of the slashing wind. Yi Wanwan extended her arm in a flash and blocked off the attack. Miss Wanwan. Surprise filled Su Yi's face when he saw the visitor. Miss Wanwan, why are you here? I'm not allowed to be here. Yi Wanwan raised her brows. You can. Of course you can. It's just, why did you come inside by scaling a wall? It'll be your 9th master's birthday when it's 12. I want to give him a surprise. Tomorrow's 9th master's birthday? Si Yihan really never celebrated his birthday, so even Su, he had no clue about the exact date of Si Yihan's birthday. Chapter 2443, Steward Su, enough talking. I don't have time. I'm going to go now. Yi Wanwan shouted. All right, Miss Wanwan, but wait. 9th Master probably isn't in his bedroom right now. Go to the loft on the top floor and take a look there. Su Yi said. Yi Wanwan paused. The loft. Su Yi nodded. Yes, after coming back to Jean Garden, he went to the loft by himself. I heard 9th Master isn't in a good mood on this day every year. Yi Wanwan furrowed her brows. Okay, got it. Yi Wanwan glanced at the time on her phone and rushed to the loft. There were 10 minutes left. Yi Wanwan sprinted to the top floor in one go before bursting through the door to the loft. Agio! Yi Wanwan called softly, but the loft was silent without a sound. Agio! What's going on? He doesn't seem to be here. Did he leave already? After calling a few more times, Yi Wanwan still didn't hear anyone, so she could only check elsewhere. Because she wanted to give him a surprise, she moved carefully and as quietly as possible. She could only covertly search room after room. In the end, she couldn't find him anywhere. He wasn't in the loft, the study, or the bedroom. Damn, where the heck did he go? Yi Wanwan watched the clock drop down to 3 minutes before midnight and spun around anxiously. Her birthday surprise. Was it going to be aborted prematurely, just like this? 3 minutes. 2 minutes. Yi Wanwan was standing in front of the bedroom, about to look elsewhere, when her ears twitched and heard some shuffling from the bedroom. Yi Wanwan opened the bedroom door immediately. The noise seemed to have come from the bathroom. Damn, she was in too big a hurry earlier and only looked outside, not expecting him to be in the bathroom. Shit, I only have 1 minute left. Yi Wanwan had no presence of mind for anything else and launched toward the bathroom like a rocket, kicking open the door without a word. Bang! The door slammed against the wall, shaking from the impact. And so, with the man's stunned gaze on her, Yi Wanwan leaped toward him, maintaining her bullet speed. Si Yihan appeared to have just finished showering. His hair was wet, and he still wasn't dressed with only a white towel tied around his waist. Wanwan. Si Yihan's hands stayed poised inches from his hair with a towel in them, in the middle of drying his hair. He didn't expect Yi Wanwan to suddenly appear at all, staggering a step back when she barreled into her. Si Yihan immediately extended his arms to stabilize her and prevent her from falling. His expression was solemn as he asked, Why did you come here? Did something happen? Yi Wanwan ignored Si Yihan's inquiries and hastily made a shushing noise, signaling him to be quiet before peering down her phone. She counted down 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. As Yuan counted, she scrambled to pull out a slender sparkler from her pocket and lit it with a lighter before turning off the bathroom light with a paw. Dong! Downstairs, the clock resounded as it struck midnight. At the same time, sizzle. The sparkler ignited and the faint but brilliant sparks illuminated the small bathroom, casting a glow on the girl's flushed, panting face as well as her mesmerizingly enchanting eyes. Seeing, the girl raised her sparkler as she stood on tiptoe and kissed the man on the lips. Her sweet and glutinous voice, accompanied by the sound of the fireworks and the chiming clock, rang next to his ears. Happy birthday. Chapter 2444, Seehin. Happy birthday. Seehin felt as if there was a blazing flame dashing toward him along with the girl, and it slammed into his heart. Bang! Outside the window, a ball of light started small and rose in the night sky before exploding into a bright and resplendent flower, illuminating the entire sky. From a small window in the bathroom, Yuan faintly saw the fireworks outside and turned euphoric. Yi Mufan finally didn't let her down for once. Baby, come here, come here. Yuan eagerly dragged Si Yihin to the balcony outside the bedroom. The second the balcony door opened, fireworks burst in front of their eyes, sprawling across the sky. Yuan looked at the fireworks in the sky while waving her sparklers and lamenting, "Sigh, I know this birthday celebration is a bit tacky, but I was pressed for time, so it was all I could do." Si Yihin looked at the girl in front of him, a myriad of emotions billowing in his chest. His voice was low and hoarse as he asked, "How did you know?" "I had baby Tang Nang ask Director Ian." "All right, Sue, he told me you were in the loft, and also said you're typically in a bad mood at this time every year. So how come today?" When Yuan charged in a bathroom, Si Yihin was showering and didn't appear to have any traces of sadness on his face, so Yuan couldn't help but find it odd. Si Yihin silently looked at the girl before replying, "Su Yi's right. My mood isn't too good every year at this time, but this year is different. This year is different. I'm in a very good mood this year." Yuan grinned. "Is it because we're about to get married?" Si Yihin didn't deny it and leaned down to kiss her on the lips. "Yes, it's because we're about to get married." Yuan enigmatically pulled two little booklets out of her pocket. "Then you'll definitely like my birthday present." Si Yihin looked at the two household registration booklets she was holding, his unfathomable eyes overflowing with a brilliant light and vibrant colors. It's our household registration booklets. We'll go and get our marriage license first thing tomorrow morning." Yuan paused a moment before continuing, "Oh right, I've taken care of our marriage license in the independent state already. We originally needed to go in person, but I asked Master to open the back door for us, so everything is taken care of." At the same time, Yiling Jun, who was far away in the independent state, thought, "Haha, I've always abided by the principle of acting upright and honest as the president of the Arbitration Council. This is the first time I've opened the back door for someone, and it was to help my little disciple obtain a marriage license. Wasn't this using a sledgehammer to crack a nut? He was so powerful, so he should have at least pulled something big. But what could he do? A dad from his little disciple, and he'd help her do anything she wanted. Back in China, Yuan clicked open the photo album on her phone as she spoke and pulled up the photo of the marriage license that Yiling Jun sent her. Look, the marriage license in the independent state was also a red booklet. Gold-foiled letters were printed inside, and the photo featured was one that she picked from her array of photos with Si Yihin. "Hee, do you like your birthday this year? I know you don't like to celebrate your birthday, but I made the decision to help you celebrate without asking you. You aren't angry, right?" Yuan asked nervously. "I like it." The man leaned down again and fiercely kissed her lips. How could he dislike it? He'd always viewed the day he was born as a day of misfortune and calamity. Now, though, he'd never been as glad as this moment that he was brought into this world and was bestowed the chance to meet her. Chapter 2445. The next day, Yu Wanwan and Si Yihin went to the civil administration office early in the morning to obtain their marriage certificate. After obtaining the license, the first thing Yu Wanwan did was announce it to the world. "Baby, come here. Take a picture with me." Yu Wanwan pulled Si Yihin toward her. She used the festive red backdrop that was the civil administration office and took a photo with him. Then Yu Wanwan clicked open her friend's circle and also took a photo of their marriage certificate before posting it along with the photo of her and Si Yihin. She paired it with the description, "I've traveled to many places and seen many sights, but no matter how far mountains and rivers stretch or how much flowers bloom like a piece of brocade, they aren't as good-looking as you." Yu Wanwan posted this using her main WeChat account, which had many friends, including people from both China and the independent state. As soon as the status was posted, regardless of whether they were from China or the independent state, her entire friend circle exploded. Gongsu truly deserved the title of Gossip Prince. He successfully managed to be the first one to leave comment. Due to being too emotional, he lost all ability to speak and could only drop a countless amount of exclamation marks. And then, Gongsu immediately screenshotted this status and sent it to their company WeChat group chat. This message and friend circle screenshot from Gong Su successfully forced all of the lurkers in the group out of silence. Luo, Chun, Fei Yong, damn, what the heck is this? Where did you this photo? You PS'd it, right? Gong Su, PS my ass. Brother, you just posted this on our friend circle. Take a look yourself. Fei Yong, I've returned. It's true. Jiang Yanran, wow. Wanwan actually got her certificate with President Xi. Congratulations, congratulations. Han Xinyu. Yibai's location tag is Imperial City. Where did she come back? Gong Su, I'm going to. Socially. Withdraw. I actually had no idea when brother came back. And I only found out brother Yi got married from her friend's circle. Am I really not brother Ye's most beloved little darling anymore? Luo Chun. When were you ever? Gong Su, damn. Do you want to fight? Luo Chun. What time is this? Why are you still fighting with me? Brother Yi has been stolen, wah. Upon seeing the chaos in the group chat, Yi Mufan finally appeared late to the scene. Yi Mufan, calm down. Gongsu, how could I be calm? Say, CEO Yi, aren't you too awful? You must have known already, right? Why didn't you tell us earlier? Fei Yong, that's right. CEO Yi, it's your bad for causing us to be stuffed a mouthful of dog food so unexpectedly. I wasn't prepared at all. Yi Mufan. Huh, you've eaten this little bit of dog food. Is it a big deal? Because today is Si Yihin's birthday, she insisted on preparing a birthday surprise for her man at midnight last night, so she ordered me to drive her across half of the Imperial City. Not only did she steal household registration booklets, but she also went searching for fireworks all over the city. After that was done, I had to go to the lakeside and endure the chilly wind in the middle of the night to help her release fireworks and make it romantic. What? You've only seen a status update, yet you feel wronged? Huh. Gong Su ahem, it looks like a more tragic one. CEO Yi, huh. Fei Yong, plus 10,086. CEO Yi is more tragic. Jiang Yanran. Brother Mufan, you've suffered. If they had dog food scattered over their faces, then Yi Mufan was probably directly sitting on a mountain of dog food. Chapter 2446, when Yi Wanwan's post was published in her WeChat friend circle, the people in the independent state also saw it naturally. The first person to notice it was Big Dipper. Big Dipper's eyes shot open. Damn, Sis Feng and Lord Azura got their marriage certificates in China. Are they at rocket speed? Isn't this too fast? First Elder, Third Elder, and 7-Star turned to Big Dipper at once. First Elder asked, What? The President received her marriage certificate with Lord Azura? Third Elder exclaimed, Are you for real? The President actually got married? Fu Mingxi darted over and grabbed Big Dipper by the collar. What nonsense are you spouting? That's impossible. With the President's personality, even if she liked Lord Azura, she absolutely wouldn't get married to him. Big Dipper shrugged. There's no use shouting at me. You'll see when you look at Sis Feng's friend circle. Of course, I personally advise you not to look at it. There was no way Fu Mingxi wouldn't look. He pulled out his phone and clicked open Yi Wanwan's friend circle and instantly saw Yi Wanwan's PDA-filled status. The attached photos were a photo of the bright red marriage certificate and a selfie of the couple. In the photo, Lord Azura's stunningly bewitching face didn't need additional mentioning, and a bright and beautiful smile was spread across their own president's face. Fu Mingxi had always known his president was beautiful, but this was his first time realizing she could be this beautiful. That smile was warm and brilliant, as though she was an angel whose wings were spread behind her. When Fu Mingxi managed to finally pull away from the photo, he noticed the description that his president wrote. "I've traveled to many places and seen many sights, but no matter how far mountains and rivers stretch or how much flowers bloom like a piece of brocade, they aren't as good-looking as you." Big Dipper saw Fu Mingxi's face draining of color, and his figure swayed, as if about to fall. He exasperatedly said, "I told you to not look at it. Who can tolerate this PDA-filled dog food? I want to die from how stuffed I feel." Fu Mingxi tightly clutched his phone. "Impossible. This is impossible." The president clearly said her wish was the starry universe. Big Dipper reflexively finished for the other man. Fu Mingxi glared at him. "It's a harem of 3,000. That'd sound like something our cis phone would say," Big Dipper mumbled. First Elder and Third Elder also nodded in agreement. First Elder mused, "As I said, Sir Lord Azura is very good." Third Elder also added, "Exactly. He was actually crafty enough to make our president abandon her harem of 3,000 and willingly jump into the grave of marriage." As Fu Mingxi listened to their discussion, his face turned livid. Big Dipper clapped Fu Mingxi on the shoulder and comforted him. Xiaoming, you should give up. Don't tell me you don't understand what Sis Feng meant by posting those words." Fu Mingxi's face was chilly. "What did she mean?" Big Dipper murmured, "No matter how far mountains and rivers stretch or how much flowers bloom like a piece of brocade, they aren't as good-looking as you." Isn't that the same as saying wildflowers aren't as fragrant as her flower at home? Sis Feng is clearly telling you she currently only likes this one flower she has at home, and all the flowers outside don't enter her sight. Fu Mingxi was dumbfounded for a moment before bursting into tears, and he sobbed, unwilling to give up so easily. But wait, the president posted a marriage certificate from China, not the independent state. That's right, a marriage certificate from China doesn't mean anything. As soon as Fu Mingxi said that, he saw Big Dipper refreshing the page with his finger and said, "Oh my, Sis Phone posted a second identical status. Oh wait, there's a third photo this time. That looks like a marriage certificate from the independent state." Fu Mingxi. Chapter 2447 Yi Wanwan allowed everyone to see her first friend circle update, but limited the second status to only her friends from the independent state. After posting this, Siyin also followed her lead and posted 2 updates cooperatively. His photos were identical to what Yi Wanwan posted, but the description he posted was, "You're the flowers, you're the rivers, you're the mountains. You're my whole world." If Yi Wanwan's affectionate words sent people's teeth aching from the sweetness, then Si Yihin's post almost sent people's eyes popping out from shock. Others didn't dare to say anything, but Jiang Lihin directly left a comment on his post and complained, "Shit, my wretched eyes. What kind of sin did I commit to have to see this post?" His words echoed everyone's opinion. Xie Qinchuan looked surprised. "I didn't expect them to really get married." Jiang Lihin pursed his lips. "They're planning to get married in China? I absolutely won't go." "I'm not sure," Xie Qinchuan replied. As the duo spoke, they were pulled into a group chat almost simultaneously. The person who added them was Yi Wanwan, but they weren't the only ones pulled into the group chat. There were also many leaders and members of various groups and factions in the independent state. After adding everyone, Yuan wanted everyone and specially notated all of her aliases. After all the different commotions she caused in the independent state, she'd basically exposed all of her aliases and didn't need to be secretive about them. She also didn't need to conceal her identities over in China. Hence, Yuanwan's current name was Yuanwan plus Yi by phone plus worryless Nia plus Yunma. Yuanwan plus Yi by phone plus worryless Nia plus Yunma. My baby and I are getting married this month. Come to China to attend the wedding banquet, everyone. Remember to give me your gift money. It's fine if you don't have cash. You can transfer some to me too. Jiang Lihan. Xie Qianchuan. Shun Tianchun. Yuanwan's eye-grabbing nickname was seriously too flabbergasting, and her mention of gift money also rendered people speechless. For a moment, all the leaders in the group didn't know where to start bitching, causing the chat to descend into a strange silence. In the end, it was still Jiang Lihan who spoke first. Jiang Lihan, damn, your wedding is so far away. Who'd have the time to run all the way over there? Wouldn't they be spending money to ask for torture? Jiang Lihan's words echoed everyone's thoughts again. Yuanwan plus Yi by phone plus worryless Nia plus Yunma. Oh, that's fine too. If it's not convenient for you guys to come, I could just hold 12 weddings in the independent state. My baby and I can hold a wedding with every single one of our identities. Let me count. 12 weddings might not be enough. Jiang Lihan was stunned. Damn, are you freaking kidding me? I've only heard of concert tours. This is my first time hearing about a wedding tour. Si Yihan, why don't you control your wife? Si Yihan, 12 weddings isn't suitable. Jiang Lihan, see, you're delusional. Si Yihan, we can round it to a whole number. Jiang Lihan, whole number? Si Yihan, 100 weddings. All the leaders. Jiang Lihan, are you freaking trying to get rich from your weddings and overtake the Shun family? Yuanwan plus Yi by phone plus worryless Nia plus Yunma. Wow, baby, you're too clever. Why didn't I think of such a good way to make money? Jiang Lihan. Chapter 2448. In the end, everyone in the group obediently started saying congratulations and ardently insisting the couple didn't need to go through the trouble of holding so many weddings. They'd definitely go to China to attend their wedding and bring their gift money. What followed was a myriad of preparations for the wedding. Yuanwan was being given away from the Golden Seas mansion in China. She ordered 2 wedding outfits for the day of the wedding, a red qipao and a white wedding dress. Her bridesmaids were Jiang Yinran, Autumn Water, Haitang, and Medusa, while the groomsmen were Lin Ke, Jiang Lihan, Xie Qianchuan, and Xie Zhiji. At Golden Seas, at first light, the bridesmaids accompanied Yuanwan to get dressed and have her makeup done. It wasn't long before it was time for the bride to be escorted to the wedding, and the outside of the house bustled with noise and excitement. Autumn Water turned to look outside the window. Ahem, are you sure there really won't be a problem inviting all those guys from the independent state to China? Xiao Feng? Yuanwan raised her brows. What problem would there be? Autumn Water exasperatedly replied. Please, Xiao Feng, every single one of those guys have such great martial strength and can overturn the world in China. You've placed so many of them together. Who could suppress them if they started making a scene? Yuanwan mumbled, they probably won't, right? Haitang chuckled. I'm afraid it won't be so easy for Lord Azura to walk through the door today. Medusa winked and teased. My little junior sister isn't so easy to marry, so this is just a type of test. Oh, right. Isn't there also a custom of hiding the bride's shoes in China? Jiang Yinran hastily said, That's right. I was just wondering what would be a good place to hide them. Haitang mischievously suggested, I have an idea. I guarantee the groom and his men absolutely won't find it. I've done my homework. Jiang Yanran asked curiously, Where are you putting it? Haitang pulled her skirt to the side. I'm tying it to my thigh. Who will freaking find it now? Autumn Water broke into guffaws. Ha, you're too cunning. Give me the other one. I'll tie it to myself. Jiang Yanran was amazed from the sidelines. Who will freaking find that? Yi Wanwan glowered at her own bridesmaids. Tell me the truth. Do you two not want me to get married at all? At the same time, outside the mansion's gates, Si Yihin's escort motorcade had arrived. Si Yihin wore a custom-made haute couture suit with a groom's boutonniere attached to his lapel. The door opened, and his slender legs stretched out of the car. The second he stepped out and appeared in front of the gates, the people crowded there reflexively gasped. Fuck, aren't Lord Azura's looks a bit heaven-defying today? He's seriously, stunningly captivating, TSK. No wonder our president is under tight reins. Hey, quiet. Don't forget our job. That's right. We have an important mission today. And so, a group of people decisively blocked the front gates. Next to Si Yihan, Lin Kei saw the dense group and gulped. Ninth brother, why do I suddenly have an ominous feeling? The reality proved that Lin Kei's premonition was fairly accurate. After Si Yihan led his groomsmen out of the cars, what they faced was, Yimu Fan, you'll have to pass me before you can marry my sister. Gong Su aggressively led Luo Chun, Han Xinyu, Fei Yang, Chu Feng, and the others. You'll have to pass us before you can marry my brother Yi. Big Dipper led second elder, Fu Mingxi, first elder, second elder, third elder, and company. You'll have to pass us before you can marry our president. Shin Tianshan led a group of mercenary experts he hired. You'll have to defeat my people before you can marry my goddess Worryless. Yiling Jun smiled faintly. Sigh. I only have one precious daughter, after all, so you'll have to undergo some tests before you can marry my daughter. Si Yihan. Xiezhiji looked at Si Yihan's gradually darkening face and chuckled aloud. Ajio, doesn't your wife have a few too many identities? Jiang Lihan's lips twitched. Just a few too many? It's probably 100 times more difficult for him to get married this time compared to other people. I must have committed some wretched sin to have agreed to be your groomsman. Xie Qianchuan sighed. What should we do now? They have the advantage in numbers. I don't think we can defeat them. Chapter 2449. Inside the house, Yi Wanwan, who was secretly watching through the slit in the door, was stupefied. Damn, are they for real? They're freaking trying to make trouble. She never ever expected that having so many aliases would lead to such a wretched situation. Si Yihan's face was devoid of any expression as he looked at the mass of people in front of him. Ninth brother, this is two. I don't think they plan to allow you and ninth sister to get married at all. Lin Kei grumbled. Who could resist this? Does that mean I don't have to give my gift money? Jiang Lihan chuckled. As soon as Jiang Lihan said that, he felt Si Yihan's unfriendly gaze on him. Jiang Lihan laughed awkwardly. I'm just joking. I'll definitely give my gift money. Say, the top priority right now is to think about how we should properly protect the groom and escort him inside. Lin Kei said to the other groomsmen. Escort him inside, how? There's so many people guarding the door. It looks pretty hard. If we really can't, we'll fight our way inside. You go. We'll cheer for you back here. While Si Yihan and his group were blocked, a person suddenly walked out of the house. Nameless Nye passed through all the people blocking the gates and stopped next to Si Yihan. You'll have to pass me before you can stop my brother-in-law today. When everyone saw Nameless Nye actually joining Si Yihan's side, their eyes shot open. Damn, Nameless Nye. What is he doing? Shin Tianchun protested. Hey, Nameless Nye, isn't there something off here? You're part of the bride's family. You should be standing on the bride's side. Si Yihan nodded at the newcomer and greeted him, eldest brother. A jubilant grin spread across Nameless Nye's face upon hearing that. Don't worry, brother-in-law. No one can stop you with me here today. Lin Kei, Xiezhiji, Jiang Lihan, and Xie Qianchuan. No wonder you were so calm. You had a contingency plan. Lin Kei clicked his tongue. You're impressive, ninth brother. The guards at the door instantly became chagrined when they heard Nameless Nye. They couldn't stop them? The mere groom and groomsmen weren't enough to even be an appetizer, all right? Fine. Just try if you're so capable. If we allow you to enter that easily, I'll write my name backward. Yi Mufan snorted. That's right. It won't be so easy for you to enter. Big Dipper agreed. Don't even think about entering. On Si Yihan's side, Lin Kei was instantly riled up. I have a hot temper. Do you think you're so scary because you have a lot of people? Let's fight then. I refuse to believe we can't escort the groom inside. Nameless Nye glanced at Lin Quebec. Why do we need to fight for no reason? Lin Kei was dumbfounded. How would we enter other than fighting? Do you think they'd let us through that easily? You're delusional. Nameless Nye sighed softly. Have you heard a saying? What saying? Lin Kei reflexively replied. Nameless Nye didn't answer Lin Kei and marched forward instead. His expression was grave as he reached inside his jacket. What's he doing? He isn't pulling out a gun, right? That's going too far, too far. Lin Kei jolted in fright. Nameless Nye was acting like he was about to fight to the death with someone. Nameless Nye stopped in front of Yimu Fawn, Big Dipper, and the others, his eyes sweeping over the people. Then, in front of everyone, Nameless Nye pulled out a stack of red envelopes and smiled faintly. Everyone, please extend me a courtesy. Chapter 2450. Big Dipper opened the red envelopes. When he saw the $5 and $2 notes, the corner of his lips twitched. Gongsu's expression also contorted while Yimu Fawn was dumbfounded. Wasn't he looking down on them too freaking much? Out of all these red envelopes, the largest amount was a $5 bill, while the smallest amount was a $1 bill. Plus, $1 bills filled at least 90% of the red envelopes. There were so many red envelopes, but the amount probably didn't even add up to $200 when you combine them. Are you serious? Yimu Fawn subconsciously blurted out as he clutched the $1 bill in his hand. Consider this money as my admission fee. Extend us a courtesy. Nameless, Nye genuinely said. Extend a courtesy your ass. At least show some sincerity. It doesn't have to be a lot, but at least put $100 in each red envelope. You put $1 inside, yet you want us to show you some courtesy? Yimu Fawn felt a fire burning in his chest. Was he really Wanwan's freaking biological brother? 100. Nameless Nye furrowed her brows. If each red envelope had $100, how much money would I need to fill so many red envelopes? It'd be quicker if you went and robbed someone. Lin Kei, Jiang Lihan, Si Yihan, everyone. Damn. SpongeBob SquarePants. What's SpongeBob SquarePants? Big Dipper dumbfoundedly turned to a spot behind the groomsmen. There was really a giant SpongeBob SquarePants walking toward them. Huh. Lin Kei stared at the SpongeBob SquarePants that had reached him. What the heck was this? Who are you? Jiang Lihan inquired curiously. Why would someone wear a SpongeBob SquarePants costume and come to this place? Me. An apathetic voice was heard from inside the SpongeBob SquarePants costume. When Lin Kei heard this extremely distinctive voice, he shuddered. This was piece of shit's voice. Brother E, why did you show up here in this outfit? Jiang Lihan couldn't understand why the other man was wearing this. Amen. I went to the wedding location, Ishuehan replied. But the wedding hasn't started yet, right? Lin Kei's lips twitched. I went early, Ishuehan said. In other words, you went to the wrong location, right? Ishuehan answered. Everyone, Yi Wanwan and Si Yihan's wedding was taking place at an animation-themed park, which they had reserved completely. Every wedding guest had to wear a cartoon-themed costume to enter. It appeared Ishuehan mistook the time, went to the wedding venue early, and wore this costume. Why didn't you take it off? Jiang Lihan asked. SpongeBob SquarePants contemplated for a moment before replying, troublesome. Jiang Lihan, it was rather troublesome. Lil shit, you came here at the perfect time. Hurry up and take care of these people. They won't let us enter. Nameless Nye shouted at SpongeBob SquarePants. You think a mere SpongeBob SquarePants will be enough? Even if it's Ishuehan, we aren't afraid of him in such a giant costume. Why are you looking at me? I dare you to fight us in that costume. Big Dipper mocked. Immediately, First Elder, Third Elder, 7-Star, and the other people tacitly took a step back and ostracized Big Dipper completely. Big Dipper, calm down, all of you. Isn't that enough? I'll bite whoever dares to stop my wedding today to death. At this moment, Yi Wanwan charged outside in her wedding dress while holding her skirt up. Damn, since when did brides come dashing out themselves? Yimu Fawn was dumbstruck. This didn't match the storyline. Sigh, no matter how difficult the test is, it can't withstand a vehement wish to marry. Ling Jun shook his head. Chapter 2451. The girl bounded toward him like a ball of sun, illuminating the entire world in his eyes. Si Yihan's eyes were brimming with a gentle warmth, but when his gaze landed on her bare feet, his brows furrowed. "Why aren't you wearing shoes?" He hastily leaned over and picked up the girl. Closely following behind, Yi Wanwan were Haitang and Autumn Water's panting voices as each carried a shoe. "Autumn Water, shit. How could you run out here like this? What kind of bride acts like this?" "Haitang, why can't you follow the formula?" "If I followed the formula, would I still get married? Do you know how difficult it was for me to be able to get married to my baby?" Yi Wanwan was being carried in Si Yihan's arms, but she didn't forget to relay her commands. "Why are you standing there? Make way." "Yes, yes." Sis Feng, Big Dipper hastily scrambled to lay out the red carpet. Gong Su cowered as soon as he saw Yi Wanwan and also miserably carried the flower basket and scattered rose petals for her. Shen Tianshan and his mercenaries also feebly shrunk to the back. In the end, due to direct interference from the bride, Si Yihan successfully entered the house. After carrying out ceremonial components of the wedding, everyone headed to the wedding venue. "There's someone else getting married inside today," SpongeBob SquarePants Shuehan said. "What? Didn't we book the whole venue?" Yi Mufan was surprised. "I don't know," Shuehan replied. When they reached the theme park, the reception staff hastily came out. "What's going on? Didn't we book the whole venue? There's someone else getting married inside?" Gongsu was very unhappy. The manager was soaked with sweat. He was well aware of this group's background, and they did reserve the whole park. However, they had no choice. There was also another fearsome figure getting married today, and their background was also powerful. The staff didn't dare to provoke either of them. "Sorry, I'm truly sorry, but we had no choice. How about this? All fees will be on the house today. Can you please compromise a little?" The manager asked. "On the house? Do you think I don't have that money?" Yi Mufan was instantly enraged. This wasn't a matter of money. Can I ask how much the fees will be?" Nameless Nia instantly asked. After learning the amount, Nameless Nia looked at Yi Mufan and the others. "It's such a large venue. There's enough room for 20 couples to get married. So why are you acting so unreasonable?" "Yi Mufan, so it's my fault, huh? Return the money to my account later. Does that work?" Nameless Nia suggested to the manager in good humor. Yes. That's not a problem at all." The manager nodded vehemently. "Hurry and enter the park." Nameless Nia waved his hand and acted like a leader. Everyone could only follow Nameless Nia inside the wedding venue and changed into the stuffed costumes waiting for them. Originally, there would have been enough costumes, but since there was another group using some, there weren't enough costumes remaining. Yi Wanwan's eyes turned. She didn't forcefully demand the other guests to wear costumes, but made everyone from the independent state change into the stuffed costumes so that they wouldn't cause any trouble at the wedding venue. They could at least get a break with the costumes on. Tut. She was seriously too clever. This was the best method to seal someone's martial strength. Yi Wanwan herself changed into a Little Red Riding Hood outfit, while Si Yihan was outfitted as the Big Bad Wolf. And so, a majestic parade of dolls entered the castle. Chapter 2452. However, as soon as everyone entered the castle, they were dumbfounded. It was packed with people, and a couple appeared to be getting married inside. The groom was a Garfield, while the bride was an extremely beautiful girl dressed as a princess. Aside from the Garfield groom and princess bride, the other wedding guests were all wearing costumes. There was Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck, as well as some weird, unrecognizable characters. SpongeBob SquarePants. It's you again. Are you here to cause trouble again? Donald Duck stared at SpongeBob SquarePants, Ishuehan, and broke into shouts. Yuan was dumbfounded. What happened? Earlier, Ishuehan remembered the time wrong and came here first. I'm guessing he caused havoc at their wedding, Lin K said as he slid to Yi Wanwan's side. Yi Wanwan face-bombed. What kind of sin did she commit? If she'd known, she shouldn't have asked Tang Tang to invite him. But it's not our fault. We reserved this park ahead of time, but they insisted on cramming in here too. Briar, Jianglian said. We reserved this place, so we're already nice for not beating you up when you shamelessly stuffed your way inside. Bramble, too. Big Dipper ridiculed them. What? Beat us up? The Garfield groom snorted. What? You're unhappy? You better stifle it, even if you're unhappy. If there wasn't a wedding today, I would have killed you with a punch, shouted Bramble. Yuan was exasperated. While that was true, it didn't pay a single cent. Didn't the manager already say that? They were going to return the money to Nameless Nya. So right now, they were actually using the other group's venue. Today was originally going to be a good day, but this is so irritating. The Garfield groom had just said that when everyone shockingly watched Garfield stop in front of Bramble extremely fast and kick Big Dipper, not giving the other man any time to react. That's to teach you a lesson, Garfield said. Misunderstanding, it's all a misunderstanding, Yuan quickly said. Today's my big day, all right? Can't they take a break? They were dressed like this already, but still insisted on fighting. HM, I remember you. Didn't we meet at KFC? Garfield asked, turning to Yuan. Yuan was startled. When she first came to China with Big Dipper, 7-Star, and Third Elder, they did go eat at KFC once. Yuan suddenly remembered that man who was absurdly powerful and more beautiful than a woman. She also vaguely remembered the man had a girl with him, and the girl called him God, or something like that. You freaking dare to hit me. I'm gonna kill you. Bramble Big Dipper immediately dashed toward Garfield and swung a punch at him. However, a second later, Bramble was struck back by Garfield with a single move again. Why are you standing around? Help me hit him. Bramble Big Dipper screamed. Upon hearing that, all the Fearless Alliance experts charged toward Garfield in their cartoon costumes. What surprised Yuan was that the Fearless Alliance experts, including the elders, couldn't even get near Garfield and were all sent flying back a few seconds later. How could this man be so powerful? All these people were experts from the Fearless Alliance, yet they turned into soggy pieces of paper in front of him? SpongeBob SquarePants. Get your ass over here and accept your death. Garfield hooked his pointer finger towards SpongeBob SquarePants, Ishuehan. 1. Briar is the first bear brother from the animation Boonie Bears. 2. Bramble is the second bear brother from the animation Boonie Bears. Chapter 2453. You're provoking piece of shit? Everyone couldn't help but laugh in ridicule. This person was probably suicidal. SpongeBob SquarePants immediately walked forward. All the guests watched as Garfield and SpongeBob SquarePants got entangled together. From Garfield's side, Donald Duck, Mickey Mouse, and some others all started fighting with Big Dipper, Jianglian, and the others. The scene was rather ugly as a myriad of experts in cartoon costumes had started brawling with each other in utter disarray. Some experts accidentally tumbled to the ground and continued to attack their opponents while rolling around. Yuan didn't know whether to cry or laugh as she watched this. Bam! A giant noise sent Yuan reeling back to reality. Yuan watched incredulously as SpongeBob SquarePants Ishuehan was forced to retreat several steps. This was the first time in Yuan's life that she saw Ishuehan ending up disadvantaged. Lil shit, you aren't doing so hot. Patrick Star, Nameless Nya, pointed at Ishuehan and laughed. As if you're doing any better. Garfield glanced at Patrick Star and swung his soft and fluffy cat paw toward Patrick Star. Are you bullying me for not having any hands? Nameless Nya seemed to also be riled up after being forced several steps back too. Yuan stared closer. It was exactly as he said. The Patrick Star costume really didn't have any hands. He was just a pink starfish. I'll beat you to death. Patrick Star mercilessly headed toward Garfield head first. However, Garfield caught Patrick Star's head. Seeing this, SpongeBob SquarePants dashed forward and barreled Garfield several steps back. Soon, SpongeBob SquarePants Ishuehan, Patrick Star Nameless Nya, and the Garfield groom rolled into a chaotic scuffle. Damn it. Lil shit, you hit me. I couldn't see. SpongeBob SquarePants, Ishuehan said. Hit that Garfield's head? Eh, why are you hitting my head? He has a big head, and I have a small head. Are you blind? Huh, I'm too fat, Garfield said. I don't have hands. Patrick Star, nameless Nya said. I couldn't see well, SpongeBob SquarePants, Ishuehan said. Nameless Nya, Ishuehan, and Garfield tussled for ages. One would hit the other's chest, and their crotch would be struck in return, resulting in no outcome even after all the fighting. Instead, it was Bramble, Big Dipper, and Donald Duck's fight that intensified. Eldest senior brother, come and help me. This brat has a lot of helpers. Donald Duck shouted at Mickey Mouse. I'm wearing glasses, so it's not convenient. Mickey Mouse heartlessly rejected Donald Duck. Eldest senior brother, second senior brother, damn it, stop fighting. Today's a joyful day, a Pikachu shouted. The speaking Pikachu was a girl, and she had an incredibly melodious voice. Little junior sister, Thunderbolt, electrocute this damn bear for me. Donald Duck shouted. Pikachu yelled, do you really freaking think I can release 100,000 volts? All the dolls present, the dolls from the independent state, never expected to witness someone this martially strong in China, especially that Garfield. His strength couldn't be described. SpongeBob SquarePants and Patrick Star actually had to team up on him. Chapter 2454, Mommy, I'm Scared. Briar's head was knocked off by Donald Duck. Shortly after, a mini version of Pikachu timidly spoke as it grabbed the bigger Pikachu's tail. As soon as Pikachu saw the scared mini Pikachu, she was infuriated. Pikachu patted the little Pikachu on the head before sinking her energy into her Danteon and furiously roaring at Garfield. Stop fighting. If you keep fighting, you don't have to bother getting married. Garfield froze. Instantly, SpongeBob SquarePants grabbed him by the ear and Patrick Star grabbed his nose. Amen. I want to get married today. I don't want to fight. What are you all doing? Garfield demanded. My younger sister is getting married. Patrick Star, nameless Nya answered. My disciple's mom is getting married. SpongeBob SquarePants, Ishuehan replied. A person, who was actually wearing a bok choy costume, walked over to the big and small Pikachu and shouted, it's all a misunderstanding. Everyone, please stop fighting. Enough. Stop fighting. Yuan also yelled exasperatedly. Everyone had no choice but to stop at once. You damn bear, Donald Duck cursed at Bramble. You damn duck. Bramble Big Dipper also retorted, not to be outdone. Donald Duck Duck? That sounded weird. Why do you feel like he was the one worse off? After everyone stopped, Yuan finally learned the entire story of the matter. It turned out Ishuehan went to the wrong location and thought the princess bride was her while Garfield was seeing. Then, not only did he leech food and drinks from them, but he also wrecked their almost concluded wedding and messed up the process, so the other group had to restart. Sorry. We're really sorry. We originally reserved the whole venue. So, SpongeBob SquarePants thought we were the only group here. Haidang apologized to Pikachu. It's fine. It's all a misunderstanding, and we were also in the wrong. Hurry on then. Don't delay yourselves, Pikachu said. Oomph. Handless one and blind one, don't let me see you again. Garfield shouted. The handless, nameless Nya. Damn fatso, don't let me see you again. I'm going to hit you every time I see you. The blind Ishuehan. After this all-out costume brawl ridiculousness concluded, everyone finally returned to their respective themed castle. As soon as Yi Wanwan's group entered their castle, stimulating music started to blast out. I walked by myself in the countryside. I'm bringing some sweets for my grandma to taste. She lives somewhere far and remote, so I have to worry if there's a big bad wolf nearby. When the sun sets over the mountains, I have to hurry home and step into dreamland with my mom. I walk by myself in the countryside. I'm bringing some sweets for my grandma to taste. She lives somewhere far and remote, so I have to worry if there's a big bad wolf nearby. Shit. Rock and roll version of Little Red Riding Hood? Lin K was stunned. Why does it sound so demonic? Frigging awesome. Big Dipper gave a thumbs up. How could Sis Fang's version of Little Red Riding Hood not be demonic? She's probably a little Red Riding Hood who carries a backsword on her shoulder while riding a motorcycle and chugging liquor. This was a freaking staggering opening. It's actually nothing. Didn't you hear it? That Garfield is playing KFC's theme song at his wedding. Everyone, Daddy, Mommy, I wish you a joyous marriage and eternal bliss, a small gray wolf doll said in a childish voice after walking over to Yi Wan Wan and Si Yin. Yi Wan Wan patted the small gray wolf on the head and hugged him. Thank you, baby. Mommy loves you to death. Chapter 2455. From now on, Tang Dang can proudly say he attended his dad and his mom's wedding. Yi Mufan chuckled mischievously. After saying that, Yi Mufan wanted to cry. If he dared to have a child before marrying, his parents would have broken his legs eons ago. However, when they learned Wan Wan's child was so old already, not only did they not shout at her, but they even cried from delight and celebrated joyously. Soon, the rock and roll version of Little Red Riding Hood finished, and the solemn wedding march started playing. Yi Wan Wan and Si Yihan, who had switched into a wedding dress and suit respectively, also walked up onto the stage hand in hand and received congratulations all around. When the wedding ceremony was about to conclude, Haitang walked toward Yi Wan Wan. Worryless, it's time for me to give you an item. Yi Wan Wan was startled. What item? Haitang pulled out a USB and handed it to Yi Wan Wan. Your marriage still needs congratulations from one person. Who? Yi Wan Wan asked. Ji Shiran, Haitang replied. Ji Shiran, Yi Wan Wan murmured. That man still hadn't appeared to this day. Yi Wan Wan immediately met Si Yihan's eyes. Si Yihan patted her hair and plugged the USB in. Under everyone's watch, the giant screen lit up. The man appeared to be located inside a warehouse. He was wearing a white shirt with an incredibly familiar and warm smile hanging on his face. A mere glance was all it took for Yi Wan Wan to recognize the setting as the island that once imprisoned everyone. Sister Wan Wan, hello. When Yi Wan Wan heard Ji Shiran's form of address for her, she was startled. Ji Shiran had always called her Worryless, so why did he call her Wan Wan here? Perhaps because he expected she'd hold her wedding in China, right? Yi Wan Wan kept listening. Ji Shiran's lips turned up. If I guess correctly, you're probably getting married today, right? After saying that, the man faced the camera but remained silent for a long time. Congratulations on finding your true home. I believe that your other half can guard and protect you for the rest of your life. The man continued with a smile a moment later. I'm very sorry and regretful I might not be able to personally attend your wedding. But thankfully, there's equipment here that can allow me to leave behind a token to express my congratulations to you. You don't need to worry about me. In truth, I've liked someone for a while. I originally wanted to let her live her life without worries, but unfortunately, I shouldered too many burdens. I couldn't fulfill my promise to her in the first half of my life, but I've decided that I will return to her side in the second half of my life and will never leave or abandon her until death strips me away. The current me has probably left the independent state to be with her. She likes ordinariness and placidness, free from the conflicts of the world. This is also the life I wish for. Si Yihan, some things are hard-earned. I hope you can treasure it well. If you dare to let down my sister one day, I'll turn you into ashes. Wan Wan, remember, you must smile no matter what the future holds. Farewell. Below the stage, Haitang sighed softly. In the end, Ji Shiran still wasn't able to let go of his final conviction. Otherwise, why would he call her Wan Wan instead of Worryless in his congratulatory video? He still couldn't call someone else's bride Worryless. Main story end. Chapter 2456. Memory volume. The northern part of the independent state was nearly devoid of human life. Standing at a spot was a youth in a snow-white shirt whose long, ink-like hair casually draped to his waist. He resembled a celestial being that belonged in a painting. Young master, there's news from the southern battlefield. A teenager strode toward the youth. There wasn't a ripple in the youth's eyes, and there was an almost imperceptible smile hanging from his lips. The Ji family achieved an overwhelming victory, on the southern battlefield. The teenager's face was brimming with astonishment as he looked at the youth. He utterly couldn't imagine how this youth in front of him could command an army and concoct all kinds of brilliant strategies, playing and spinning both of the G family's strong enemy factions in circles. The final stroke of dissension he sowed was practically perfect. If it weren't for this youth, the G family's battles would have probably lasted at least 2 more years. This youth was the eldest son of the independent states' G family. His name was Ji Shiran. When the teenager was Ji Shiran's age, he was still wet behind the ears and ignorant about the world affairs. However, Ji Shiran was exceptional. He possessed an extremely high intellect and profound shrewdness. His martial technique and strategic capabilities had achieved the pinnacle of perfection already. The youth in front of the teenager was close to being a god. "Young master, how should we take care of the Zhou family's eldest son?" The youth turned around and surveyed the giant box sitting in the back of the car for a moment. "Kill him," Ji Shiran ordered aloofly. The teenager was startled. The Ji family had 2 mortal enemies, the Zhou family and the Tong family. Right now, the contents of the box was the eldest son of the Zhou family, whom Ji Shiran had just captured. Although the Ji family had won on the southern battlefields, if they killed the Zhou family's eldest son right now, the Ji family would probably receive ferocious retaliation from the Zhou family. At that point, the Tong family would reap the spoils without doing anything, and the gains wouldn't make up for the Ji family's losses. "Young master, are we really killing him?" the teenager asked hesitantly. Ji Shiran was expressionless. "I hired the Tong family's mercenaries with Ming's identity to help me escort this item. The route heads northwest. The Tong family mercenaries won't suspect anything." "What do you mean, young master?" The teenager was confused. Having been defeated this time, the Zhou family will naturally send a large number of scouts in the northwest front. If the Zhou family discovers their dead eldest son amongst the Tong family's mercenary team, what would happen? The youth replied calmly. The teenager shivered immediately. The Zhou family and the Tong family would fight until one perished. Even if the Tong family wanted to explain, with a seed of doubt planted by Ji Shiran, the Zhou family wouldn't believe the Tong family. They would only believe that it was the Tong family who killed their eldest son. Moreover, the Ji family had supposedly been preoccupied on the southern battlefield and didn't have the time to attack the Zhou family's eldest son. Ming. Ji Shiran turned to a middle-aged man. "Stay here and hand this box to the Tong mercenaries and follow behind. Remember, you need to intentionally be detected by the Zhou family scouts. When the time is right, you can leave," Ji Shiran said. "Understood," the middle-aged man agreed. The teenager finally understood his young master's purpose. This Ming was a steward of the Tong family who was bribed by Ji Shiran. Earlier, the teenager was still wondering why Ji Shiran bribed someone from the Tong family. Ming didn't have any status in the Tong family and was merely an ordinary steward. In the teenager's eyes, there was no need to bribe someone like him. The teenager handled the still unconscious eldest son of the Zhou family inside the box with ease before leaving Ming and the box behind. He then followed Ji Shiran and left. "Young master, that's brilliant." Halfway there, the teenager gave Ji Shiran a thumbs up. Ming is a junior steward in the Tong family and isn't connected to the mercenary business in any way. If he's discovered by the Zhou family spies, the Tong family won't be able to explain themselves. You're tuning in to the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.